All right, are you guys ready for the longest show in the history of this podcast? I hope so, because Anthony DeMarco and Mimi Burris are on this show tonight to talk about WrestleMania 37 in its entirety. We preview it in full, give our thoughts, predictions, rants, tangents, and just so much more. Let's get it all started right now.
Welcome to the WWE Podcast, your number one source for the latest in WWE news and straightforward analysis. Are you ready to get this thing going?
Give me a hell yeah! I said give me a hell yeah!
Then let's get this show started right now.
Okay, are you guys ready for WrestleMania 37? Are you excited? If not, I think this show will do just that for you. Because, admittedly, I was not excited about WrestleMania 37 going into this conversation. I mean, there were some matches on the card that I was looking forward to. There were some rivalries that I was looking forward to. Some storylines have been properly told. And then there's a lot of others that I was not. And so I was generally down going on thinking about and talking about WrestleMania 37 going into this. But Mimi and Anthony have changed my mind, even though we generally agreed with the premise that this WrestleMania feels very underwhelming. I think we all brought each other up towards the end of the conversation, and we in general are more excited about this pay-per-view than we may have otherwise been. So, a big pay-per-view, of course, WWE's biggest pay-per-view of the year tomorrow night, starting night one of WrestleMania 37 with live human beings in attendance. Can't wait for that. Probably the most exciting part of this WrestleMania is the fact that real fans are back. And interesting to hear what they have to say after being cooped up for over a year of WWE just being able to just do what they want with no penalty outside of social media. So I'm very interested to hear the reaction of fans in attendance, which, by the way, if you're attending live, reach out to us at realwwepodcast@gmail.com and we can get you on the show and hear your perspectives of what's going on in person. So just throwing that out there if anyone is going. But guys, thank you again for choosing us here at the WWE Podcast. We are one of many of your choices that you have available, especially throughout WrestleMania season and now concluding WrestleMania season and beyond. But if you want an ad-free experience, head on over to Patreon at patreon.com/WWE Podcast. You can also download the app, Patreon, and just search the WWE Podcast to get an ad-free experience. You also get a shout-out on the show, and you also get a ton of other goodies. And I'm adding stuff big time soon, guys. I'm actually adding merchandise. You can get a mug if you have a higher tier that you maintain for 3 months or more. You can get just a lot of really good stuff. Videos are coming and a lot more. I'll just leave it at that for now. There's a lot more stuff coming, but get yourself on board now. Head on over to Patreon. Don't get the ads and all that stuff in your audio. Just get this podcast. Just get wrestling. Don't worry about any other stuff, but you can get it all for $1 a month and the entire library ad free. So there's my plug for that. Guys, here's the schedule for the rest of the week. We have tomorrow night, of course, the Botch guy is going to be joining me, and we're going to be doing a live show, taking calls and being able to hear your voice and opinions on what the heck happened at WrestleMania. That'll be taking place immediately after the pay-per-view, probably several minutes. I'll schedule it and put the link out on my Twitter at wrestling_audio. Night 2 is going to be the exact same thing with YouTube's The Botch Guy. Go subscribe to his channel, by the way. And then we'll start the normal week of wrestling. I might even do a show on Monday. We'll have to see how exhausted I and my co-hosts are. But I want to be able to get all of our co-hosts in. And I know we haven't scheduled all of our co-hosts yet, so we're trying to do that. I will have a guest on Tuesday, a co-host on Tuesday. Next Sunday I've already got booked out. So, guys, so much to get to, so much to talk about, especially this Sunday, Saturday, Sunday, and beyond as the WrestleMania Fallout begins next week. So, okay, I hope you guys are ready for this because we have a 3-hour conversation. Yeah, 3-hour conversation with Mimi and with Anthony DeMarco covering WrestleMania 37. This is insane, but great. So here it comes. Guys, get yourself ready for WrestleMania. It is WrestleMania weekend. I hope everyone's doing well. And you can, by the way, during the show, wrestling_audio if you want my real-time opinions and thoughts as well on Twitter. So, okay. Thank you, everybody. Here we go. I'll talk to you soon. All right, well, it is that time of year. It is that time of year that we have been waiting for all year as wrestling fans. And this year may be a little bit different, and we'll talk about that, of course, as we go on here. But in a first time ever here on the WWE podcast, I've got Anthony DeMarco and Mimi Burris here with us. I would say live in studio. I don't know why I was thinking that. That just sounds cool, right? Live in studio, I'll say it anyway, to talk about WrestleMania 37, give our full preview and predictions on what is just, as we all deemed it, an odd card. We'll talk about that. But first, Mimi, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Matt. Yeah, we said odd card, and I said crap card. And I told him earlier today, too, I said, Anthony, you too, I hope you are super optimistic and positive about this whole thing, because you guys are going to need to balance out my very, very negative views probably going into this WrestleMania. It's not all bad. It's not all bad, but I'm excited to get talking about it.
What about you, Anthony?
Look, I'm excited in the sense of some of the matches. Like, there are some almost can't miss matches on this card, and the talent is there. But I just find the build has been that as if we're leading into like Judgment Day circa 2005. It's just, I don't know. Like, I'll take one match, for example, like Cesaro versus Seth Rollins. This could very well, quote unquote, steal the show, as WWE likes to say. And it very well could. And I'm really happy to see Cesaro really getting I believe it's his first ever one-on-one match at a WrestleMania. But the thing is that what kind of build have we really gotten here? Like, okay, so he swung Seth a bunch of times and Seth made it sound funny. Like, I don't know. For me, it's not so much the card itself. Like, even the lack of star power I could get by. But it's more the fact that for a lot of these matches, the build was just extremely subpar.
That is probably the biggest part of this, is that the card itself, on paper, if we knew nothing about the build, we knew nothing. If the build didn't exist and we were given this piece of paper for WrestleMania 37, say in the middle of last summer, we would have been like, okay, cool, I'm down with that, right? Like, you'd be, I think, more excited than you would be had you gone through the build to this WrestleMania. And that says a lot about the production of WWE, the creative behind it. And yes, of course, they are given somewhat of a pass, given that fans aren't there, although they will be tomorrow, and we'll definitely talk about that. So there are things working against them that are out of their control, and no shame there. But at the same time, this really does, when you look at the build, it is very ho-hum. And I've come to just accept the fact that the go-home shows for Raw and SmackDown, which is actually airing as we speak, but most of us don't watch it live, the go-home shows, I've come to just expect really nothing. If you would watch last night's, or Monday Night Raw, the go-home show to Monday Night Raw on Monday, you would have thought, wow, you would have never guessed that that's a WrestleMania go-home show. You would have looked at that and said, all right, well, cool, there's a pay-per-view coming up. It can't be Mania. I mean, if you knew nothing about it, of course. It doesn't have the fever pitch. It doesn't have the boiling point. You want to get to that top of the mountain and be so excited. And Anthony's right. Like, what do you think, Mimi? Do you think maybe a lot of it is due to not just the lack of star power, but perhaps the build itself?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head that this company is incapable of building storylines or long-term booking, all of that stuff. Because like you said, all of the talent is awesome, and that's why this show is going to be awesome. It's kind of like every NXT takeover lately of like 2020 and 2021 is the same thing. Every takeover manages to be good to great, but it's the build-up that just stinks. You think about, like, I think a perfect example is the Sasha Banks Bianca Belair match. Mm-hmm. On paper, in my opinion, dream match. How do they mess that up and throw Reginald and what? Like, it's like they actively made an effort to make this less exciting.
And absolutely. Well, go ahead, Anthony.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like, it was right on the tip of my tongue. Like, that match, Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks, should have just been a home run, slam dunk. But, Matt, you've talked about it on your shows. I've brought it up. And, like, I know Sasha Banks has a big following, and I used to be a mega fan of her. But WWE's indecision of just being able to book her as a babyface or a heel has really made me lose interest in this match. Like, I legitimately do not know, and I'm not being facetious at all. I don't know if she's a babyface or a heel because I feel like even the piped in crowd noise has been inconsistent when it comes to Sasha Banks. Like we know 100% Bianca Belair is the babyface. I find they've booked her extremely well. But Sasha Banks, it's just like they're going for the heel, then I guess they're booking her well. But at the same time, she never did that one thing to completely step over the line and be the bona fide heel. And if she's a babyface, well, it just goes without saying why they've dropped the ball in that regard. And I think that they actively had to try to mess this up, and that's what they've accomplished.
I mean, the fact that WWE actually, like you said, has to try. It almost does seem at times like they're making a concerted, conscious effort to just say, you know what, F it, we're gonna just throw this one against the wall and see what sticks. And it does seem in this storyline. And by the way, guys, I don't know if you've heard or not, with that particular match we're talking about, it is going to be closing the show tomorrow night. It is official that it will be the main event of night one for WrestleMania. Now, we could argue whether or not it's deserving of it, and perhaps it is, perhaps it isn't. I think there's a case to be made on both ends. But you're right, Sasha Banks. I think it's not just a representation of this storyline for Sasha. I think it's really just a larger problem with her character, really since inception in WWE. If you looked at how many times she's flipped, I bet that she'd probably be in contest with the Big Show. I mean, she has flip-flopped back and forth so many times that you do lose interest in her character. Now, she's such a good talent that she can overcome it most of the time, and she's really good in the ring. Of course, we all know that she certainly looks the part, but this is a match that I feel like, especially on Sasha's part with the creative, they have dropped the ball. What do you think, Mimi?
Yeah, I promise you're gonna have to give me like a limit on AEW references here, but this makes me think about I think it was you again who a while ago said something about how she never had like her official babyface turn with the whole Bayley feud.
Yep.
Right, and so perfect example of this. I don't know again how much you guys follow this, but AEW, the Inner Circle, Chris Jericho, right, gets turned on by MJF, and that isn't the end all be all of, he's just a babyface now. And that's Chris Jericho too, like bona fide babyface at 50 plus years old now, because you just want to cheer him because he's so awesome. But last week the whole AEW show sucked besides this, but he came out and he said basically cut a promo saying, I'm a babyface now, I was a heel and now I'm a good guy, all of us are, and we know that, but those are the little things that you have to do. She never did that. And then Matt, I know you were talking about the Stone Cold sessions with her. I tried to watch some of it with Sasha Banks. I couldn't get halfway through it. She was bothering me so much.
Right.
It's just annoying. And so, cool, great if that's the case. She's an awesome heel because she drives me nuts. I audibly groan whenever she's on my TV, and not I'm going to turn the TV off, but in a way I want to see Bianca Belair slap her back and kick her butt, and it's just
and not just maybe she'll hit the ultimate finisher and point at the WrestleMania sign instead of hitting.
Oh my God! And if I hear it's boss time again,
I think Michael Cole is doing it to the point of just trolling fans. It's like when he used to say the big dog for Roman Reigns. It's got to be trolling at this point. It's cringeworthy when Cole does it every time.
I'm going to start listening to German or Spanish commentary on WrestleMania so I don't have to hear that, unless they say it in Spanish too. I'm done.
Yeah. What do you think, Anthony?
Well, it's gone to a point now with Sasha Banks where I used to say if they just turn her heel officially, I'll get way behind her. But I didn't even attempt to watch the Broken Skull sessions just because she bothers me that much, because I feel like I don't think that she's acting. I really do not. And to be honest, I'm not gonna lie, I have to fast forward through her entrance because I'm just you are the only person who synchronizes a twerk with the bass drop in a theme song. And just as she walks down the ring to her singing her own theme song, I'm just could you be more arrogant? Like even Triple H at the height of the Ruthless Aggression era, and I know I always bring this era up.
Here it goes, yeah.
But like even when he was like the top heel ever, did he ever like walk down like mimicking the lead singer from Motorhead, just like it's all about the game?
Yeah.
And how you just don't do that. It's like it's just weird. It's just and she just bothers me. And it's not even like the character anymore. It's the person where I'm just like, I don't even want to give you the satisfaction of booing you if that's what you're going for.
It's actually, yeah. It's reached a deeper level than the character that she's playing. It's reached dare I say, a personal level, like the human being, Mercedes. It's reached her. Like that's how deep it's gone. Yeah.
And it's just like, who would ever wear a full diamond bodysuit? Like, who would ever be like, you know what? That's what I'm wearing tonight, and I'm gonna, even if I'm trying to get booed or I'm trying to get cheered, like I don't get it. Like, and I'm sure you guys can hear it in my voice. Is I just get irritated when I see her. For me, like it started with the theme song thing. I don't know why. Like the first time she came back with the Snoop Dogg remix, I'm just like, she loves her theme song so much, and it's bothering me right now. And since then, it's just been like a downward spiral that I can't get it back on the rails. So, but I think that since they made her champion and now she's been booked as a babyface, but now we're not really sure. And I'm sure it would be one of those instances like when Roman Reigns was said, like, I'm not the good guy, I'm not the bad guy, but I'm the guy. I'm sure that's like something towards what creative is driving for here. But with her, it's just like you said, Matt. It's gone so much deeper than the hatred for the character. I just resent the person now.
Yeah. All right. Well, I do have a ton more to get to. Any on this kind of opening, setting the table here. Is there anything else on this particular issue, Mimi, before we start actually diving in here?
Yeah, I'll just say. I mean, it's not. Just so we're clear here, right? We don't. Like, cool, Mercedes, do you know what I mean? Not that she'd ever listen to this podcast, but you know what I mean? Like wear your whatever bodysuits, rock on, but it's like make a decision kind of thing. Like it bothers me. The even what's even more annoying than the singing of the music, like you said, Anthony, or whatever, is it's like I'm trying to be a face, but I'm so obnoxious and annoying. I'm a heel naturally, but I'm trying. It just doesn't fit. And I think that's the issue we're all having. Because I bet, guys, she could be the best heel in WWE in the last 20 years. Like, she is that good at... Listen, how long have we been talking about how annoying she is?
Uh-huh.
And not in like a... Like, we want to watch her wrestle, right? Like, she's a great wrestler. So it's not in like a turn my TV off way. It's just like... Well, Anthony fast forwards to the entrance. But, like, it's just more so like just make a decision or stop trying to have us pretend to like her. It just doesn't work.
It doesn't. I don't think she's ever turned babyface. Like I said, I think she's been heel since she was with Bayley. I don't believe that there was a solid babyface turn, even though we were told to. But anyway, okay, we could talk about this forever because it is just so obnoxious. But I guess that's a credit, even the credit's not due.
I'm going to do a rivalries episode between her and myself.
Yeah, you should just pipe in the cut promos and stuff. Yeah. All right, guys, let's get into the matches because we do have quite a few as always. And well, first of all, let me ask this: Are you guys, Anthony? I'll ask you first. Are you excited about at least having WrestleMania 2 nights? Or would you rather go back to, which it looks like next year when hopefully the pandemic is completely behind us and they're in AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, right outside the big city of Dallas, of course. It looks like they'll resume their 8.5-hour shows there. But for this year, this may be the final 2-night event. We'll see. But are you a fan of 2 nights or would you rather go the full 8 hours and get it done in one night?
I mean, like, look, there's pros and cons to both. I think it's a lot more digestible this way, and it kind of feels like more of I don't know, like an opportunity to really see a bunch of matches that we wouldn't have otherwise seen. Like, there's a few matches on this card that I'm really happy are on the card, but otherwise, let's say in a one-night scenario, I don't think would have been there. Like, I'll say, like, a dark horse match for me personally is Riddle and Sheamus. And I love the fact that they're putting the U.S. Championship on a big stage. And I think this is like an opportunity here for Riddle to show us what he's got, and I think an opportunity for WWE to kind of give Sheamus one last big run. And I think he's owed like a singles championship run. Like, I don't know if he'll ever get back to world championship status, but I think like him going for a United States championship run would be good. So I'm happy for it in that sense. But at the same time, there's something about WrestleMania being one night, that one night spectacle, like the Super Bowl isn't 2 nights, or, the Stanley, well, I guess the Stanley Cup is different, but you get what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just that one night's big moment feel. But that being said, when it's one night, they just all try and cram it into like a 7-hour marathon, which kind of dilutes it. And by the end, you just want to go to bed because you're so overloaded. So there's pros and cons to both. I'm ultimately happier that they're going back to one night next year. I just hope that they don't make it such a big, long marathon that they had done leading up to last year.
Mimi?
Yeah, I agree with Anthony on a lot of points there. I think I'd be much more okay with the whole 2-night formula thing if we weren't having WrestleMania SmackDown tonight. Like, I think the fact that the one tag team division in WWE that's actually somewhat entertaining isn't on the WrestleMania card is just sad. Not only that, I guarantee they also probably don't get like a WrestleMania payday, if anything, too. It just, you kind of can't excuse not putting who cares about the Battle Royal, but like, can't excuse not putting these 2 matches on the card when you've got 2 nights and they've had no problems doing, like you said, Matt, like 9-hour WrestleManias in the past. So whatever, it's more wrestling to watch. It's a little, like Anthony said, easier to digest. But there is something about it being, one night, one spectacle, and I'm excited for it to go back to that. I think it would be a little bit more understandable if they, how they have like WrestleMania week or SummerSlam week or whatever, where they do all those access things and stuff like that. Like, I don't know, I guarantee they're not doing all that, but if they had all that, I would almost feel like it would make a little bit more sense. So if you're going to see the show, you're going there for the whole week, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, there is that too. And I think that the one night format will probably take precedence over the 2 nights. While they're doing the 2 nights, I think they feel like they're kind of forced while we're still on the tail end of the pandemic. Obviously is a big reason for it. And the one night, yes, I think it does feel more special. I think what also feels more special is when there's 85,000 screaming fans versus, 0 in the Performance Center last year. Or now we have 25,000 people, which, again, they're in their pods. Well, hopefully that doesn't really prohibit the noise coming through and people can actually, be heard on camera and all that kind of thing. But there is something special about that one night event where it's like, this is it, guys, tonight only, rather than split into 2 at the same time, like we all said. A 3-hour event is certainly much more plausible or much more digestible, as you said, Anthony, to take in one night and go, okay, I got my fill of wrestling. Cool, we have another one tomorrow night. I mean, there is that too. It's just a Monday Night Raw length. So I think that they eventually will stick to a permanent one-night event. I doubt that they'll continue a 2-night event. All right, let's jump into the card because we do have a lot to talk about here. And the first up on my list is, let's see here, night 1. I'll start with night 1 here. I'll go in chronological order. And this is the tag team turmoil where the winners for the women receive a title shot on night 2. So here's night 1. The tag team turmoil consists of Natalya and Tamina versus Naomi and Lana versus Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke versus the Riot Squad. Mimi, you go ahead, take this one first. Who do you think's going to win this to get their tag team title shot on night 2?
Tamina. I'm calling it. Tamina Snuka. No Natalya, just Tamina. No, this whole thing is just something else. I think that if I'm correct, they also had the graphic up and Carmella and Billie Kay were on there or something. And I think, before I give the exact prediction, I think this match has a lot more potential not to necessarily be a great match, but to have a little bit more excitement around it if a couple of things happen. Because there are some possibilities, I think, to make this more exciting, because I think we can all agree, I don't want to speak for you guys, but this sounds awful. And especially over the SmackDown match blows me away, but it's the women on WrestleMania, and I get that. I just whatever. I think that it would be this match is so boring and dry on its head that if you had the Bella Twins return and win, it might actually make it even more exciting than it is now. I could see that happening. I mean, the one thing that would salvage this is give me an Iconics reunion. I mean, where's I don't know if this Billie Kay and Carmella thing is really going to happen. Where's Peyton Royce? I'd love to see that. And then if they insert Bayley into it somewhere too, then maybe it'd be a little bit more exciting. So I almost feel like it'd be hard to make a choice because I think there's going to be another team, if not a couple other teams added to this match. I think there's more than what's on paper here. But if I'm going with what I see, I'm going with Natalya and Tamina, all jokes aside. I think they've really been pushing them. And good, because Tamina's a beast. Natalya's a technician and a general, and I mean, besides the Riot Squad, I can't think of a team that's kind of been better the last couple weeks, which I'm saying with a grain of salt. Bear in mind, right? This is all on a WWE curve, but I think Natalya and Tamina are going to take it. What about you,
Anthony? Well, I'll pass to Anthony. Let's see what happens. I'm interested to hear what you have to say first because I'm feeding off you guys.
I think of the teams advertised, much like maybe me referred to, is that I think it's going to be Lana and Naomi. Because I really think that for whatever for one, I think they're going to want to do babyface versus heel. I know that they've been pushing Tamina and Natalya, but I don't think they would go heel versus heel for the tag team championships at WrestleMania. And I felt for a while now, although it really cooled off over the winter, but they want to make Lana somewhat meaningful. And I do think that they don't want to waste Naomi's talent. So of the advertised teams, it would be them. But that being said, to Mimi's point, an Iconics return, I would not completely discount. So one of those two teams, I think, will win.
All right. Well, this is interesting. Nobody here right now is picking the same two teams. That's good. So my pick is the Riot Squad. And the reason is that they have been in the eyes of fans. And don't forget, WrestleMania is the time when Vince likes to put smiles on people's faces, that he wants to make. It's the feel-good show. It's the baby faces overcoming generally. So you have to also have a babyface team to go against the Night 2 Women's Tag Team Champions of Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. So logic would tell you, right, Naomi and Lana, I think, are plausible. Iconics, while I think they're possible, I think it's unlikely. I wouldn't even care if they don't give me an explanation how they got back together. I would just take it at face value and go fine. I would be all for an Iconics run that you talk about getting cut short. The Iconics are absolutely on that list. But I think the Riot Squad takes this one, and the reason is because the Iconics have been put on, or the Riot Squad rather, have been put on the back burner for so long, and the fans have been saying, can we give these two time to develop their characters? They have been, they were the sacrificial lambs of Shayna Baszler in the Elimination Chamber last year. They were the sacrificial lamb for Ronda Rousey when she was going crazy in WWE. How many weeks in a row they would try to attack her and she'd just decimate them and actually cause real injuries, from what I'm understanding. This is a team that I think is deserving. They were together, they broke up, now they're back together. Obviously minus Sarah Logan, that really no one ever really cared that she's gone. But Riot Squad, I think, is deserving. I think the fans are going to be behind Riot Squad more than any team here. I think they recognize that they have been here a long time, that their time is due. And I think the Riot Squad is the most likely. I would not put any money on this at all. I mean, outside of Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke, all teams are on the table here. So Riot Squad is my pick. Go ahead. Anybody? Response?
I was just going to say, can you imagine, though, the pop if we heard, right, Iconic? Like that
Yeah.
place, that however many, like that, whatever, 1/3 filled stadium would sound, two times as full, I think. Just that would make, I don't care. You can give me Strowman and Shane McMahon all night long after that. If I got that, I'd be happy.
I would love the Riot Squad, and they're the ones that I'm hoping will win, but I've just almost given up hope. Like, I've wanted them to win the tag team championships when Sarah Logan was in there, and it was her and Liv Morgan competing for the inaugural tag team championships. What is it, 3 years ago now in the Elimination Chamber? So I think ideally, and as a fan, I'm pulling for them. And I would probably even like that more than the icon. Well, I don't know about that. That pop would be pretty good compared to Mimi's Boy. But I mean, like, out of the 4 teams advertised, I'm pulling for the Riot Squad. I don't see WWE pulling the trigger ever on these two. And even as single competitors, like, I thought that Ruby Riot could have had a good singles run, but for whatever reason, they're just not backing these two either alone or as a tag team.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, there's not a lot of evidence to prove my point. I mean, in fact, there's not really any, other than they're occasionally on TV. They get the very, very canned, scripted, as you're walking to the ring, pre-recorded promos that are the worst type of formatted promos you can ever do, because they are just, I mean, honestly, it feels like they have a teleprompter right behind the camera whenever they have those promos. I mean, outside of that, they haven't been given a voice at all. They rarely win matches, or if they do, it's 50-50 booking. There really is nothing beyond fans going, what the hell? Like, why aren't these two, especially in a weak women's tag team division, being pushed higher? And I hope it happens. Maybe it's more of my heart than my brain that wants these two to win. But I'm glad we have 3 different picks. So that's certainly a cool thing. So, okay. Let's continue on here with night 1. And the Raw Tag Team Championship, New Day versus AJ Styles and Omos. Anthony, you go first on this.
AJ and Omos. It just has to.
Yeah.
These two guys have to come away with the tag team championships, and I just want AJ Styles to get the win. Like, I just feel he has been spinning his tires for quite some time now. Like, he's been probably my favorite for the better part of 4 or 5 years right now in WWE. I just think he could do it all. He's just as good as a babyface as he is as a heel. I find he's probably under the radar, one of the funniest guys WWE has. And I think it says a lot about AJ Styles as just like the guy himself, that he's willing to go into a tag team match when he has been one of the main guys for, like I said, the past 5 years. You know, last year he went up against The Undertaker. The year before that, he had a one-on-one match with, I believe it was Randy Orton at WrestleMania. Then he had the championship match against Shinsuke Nakamura before that. Like, he has been one of the faces that run the place since 2016. And I know that's a cliche, but I can't say enough about AJ Styles. And I think it says a lot about him as a guy to, you know, help Omos along in this match, as it will be his first in-ring competition in WWE. And as for the New Day, I mean, I don't hate them as much as most, but at the same time, I don't need them to win at a WrestleMania and retain the tag team championships. This is 100% AJ and Omos.
Mimi.
Yeah, I agree. I actually live suggestion to Anthony. I'd love to hear rivalries with AJ Styles, whether it's Samoa Joe or John Cena or anybody. I think AJ Styles is one of my favorites as well. I think he's good at everything he does. I miss the statistician. I forget his name, and I know that was like a TNA thing, but kind of wish they bring that back. But I love the dynamic between him and Omos. I think most people probably hated all those funny little segments with the Pictionary and the Vanilla Bean and whatever. I don't know. I feel like I'm so brain dead when I watch any WWE product that the littlest thing makes me laugh like that. So I think they're all doing a great job. I think just to be different from Anthony, I'm gonna go with the New Day because I think WWE's stupid, and they think that that's the way to go. I think it's gonna be one of those conquering the big guy moments. You know, I think it'll. Again, I don't think it's the right decision. I'm just going with it. It's impossible to analyze any of this with real logic because that would require real logic behind the booking, which it isn't there. So I don't know how to put any kind of logic on it, and I guess my logic is that there is no logic, and I think that's why the New Day is going to win. But I'm excited for this. I actually think this would be a great kickoff, not kickoff show, but have the first match of the first night. I know you guys talk about the New Day being stale and all that, but I think as a pop to have the New Day come out first, on a big stage. They are fun. A lot of people love them. I think it would be a great first entrance, first match to get the show going. So.
Well, let me just say this. Well, first of all, my pick, just to be out front, is AJ Styles and Omos, which OMOS is what I have on the screen. So I think it's almost, they had OMAS, which is Omos. I honestly have lost track of what it is. I don't think WWE knows because I've seen it change from an O to an A to an A to an O. So I guess we'll take our pick. But that's my official pick. To me, what the most interesting thing about this is, of course, we want to see what he can do in the ring. Omos is a big dude. I don't expect him to be doing, hip tosses and, drop toe holds and Hurricane Ranas. I certainly expect him to just act like the big guy. And he should. I don't need to see anything that he can't do. So we are all interested to see when AJ Styles makes that tag to him, what the crowd's going to do. I think the most interesting part of this, beyond him in the ring and what he can do, is the crowd reaction to this. I think you may get a pop for the New Day entrance, but remember the people that are at this event. These are not your families. I don't think anyone could afford to bring their family to WrestleMania this year. These are the people that are from overseas, that are the, quote, hardcore, quote, ardent, whatever you want to label them as. These are those fans that are the foundation of WWE, that they like to label us as the counterculture every single Monday Night Raw when everything is cheered, that normally people boo and boo normally cheer, which I can't stand, and I will take that to my grave. That those are those people here. And I think that recognizing the New Day have been champions really since their inception, off and on, 11 times now. I believe that AJ Styles and Omos are going to be crowd favorites, even though they're booked as heels here, because people are just flat out tired of the New Day act. And I think people, especially this type of crowd, they are tired of seeing them as champions, and they want to see AJ Styles, who many people feel has been kind of suppressed over the last year or more. And I'm more interested to see what this crowd is going to be like. That, to me, is going to be the most interesting, is how do they react when, New Day are getting offense, or if the New Day retains. If the New Day retains, I can see people booing the hell out of this. What do you guys think?
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that. Could you guys see, on top of that, I'll ask you, Anthony, as well, could you guys see, I know the merchandise and the money and the podcast and all this stuff the New Day does, and with Big E on SmackDown, and there's no official breakup, thank God, because I don't think they ever need to do that. But could you guys see, I think Xavier Woods and Kofi would probably advocate for it more than it would be pushed, but a post-WrestleMania, anytime 2021, New Day heel turn.
I would like it, a heel turn, because I actually found them hilarious.
Yeah, they're so good.
Because New Day, when they first showed up, I hated them. And I'm pretty sure they were being booked as baby faces. And then when they switched to heel, I found them hilarious. Like, I remember they did a promo with The Rock. And, like, when they were kind of that arrogant, heelish group, and they were just, like, trolls on steroids, that's basically what the gimmicks were. Like, I really liked it. It's only lately that I don't hate them. To be honest, I just hate Kofi Kingston. I don't know what it is. Like, if it was just Xavier Woods and Big E, I'd probably like them even more. But just, I've never liked Kofi Kingston and his WWE Championship run that Matt and I ranted about for 6 months straight 2 years ago. But, like, I would like to see them do a heel turn, because then at least I could rightfully hate Kofi Kingston. But the one other aspect I would consider into why AJ and Omos will win is because all AJ Styles is missing from his repertoire to make him a Grand Slam champion in WWE is the tag team championships. He's won a world title. He's won the US title. He's won the IC championship. He's just missing the tag team championships. And we know how WWE likes to throw people's accolades in our faces. And I think there's no doubt in our mind that of the last half a decade, AJ Styles has been one of the faces of the company. So I think that that's a big reason to consider as to why he will come away with the title.
All right. Well, any other thoughts on this? I mean, I think this match, as far as quality, I don't think anyone's concerned about it being, a stinker. I think it's just going to kind of be your average tag team match. Although New Day's very athletic, AJ Styles is very athletic, but Omos is probably going to be the guy that slows things down, for better or worse. It's probably going to be just an averagely good match. That's what I expect from this. So there is a case to be made for New Day retaining. There is, if you want to make Omos the center of attention and really not make this about the team, but rather Omos going off on his own. You could make that case. Of course, we're going to see how good he is in the ring, and I have my doubts, but that doesn't mean I can be proven wrong. So, okay, let's get to something that's a little more fan favorite here, and one that, as we all said, could steal the show. And it's possible that it will. I think a lot of it has to do with time constraints. If they're given 10 minutes, I think that's a shame for Seth Rollins and Cesaro, of course, is what I'm talking about. And the build to this has been weird at best. You have Seth Rollins, who's kind of the Messiah, but also still burning it down and coming out in ridiculous suits that make me laugh. He's also kind of acting like a child, but has Murphy back, but doesn't really have Murphy back. Why he's even coming back. This whole it makes zero sense. His character feels in between. Seth Rollins feels like it's like he doesn't know where to land. So he's kind of taking a split approach on his character. It's really bizarre. And not that I'm not ranting about it. I don't hate it. I'm just kind of like, I don't know what to feel about Seth Rollins other than his suits and his expensive shoes he wears with no socks. His outfits probably make it for me. But outside of that, he's using his old music, but he's still wearing his black glove, and he's still kind of the Messiah, but not really. He doesn't have any followers. I don't know what to make of his character. Cesaro seems to be kind of finding his own, from the bar to kind of James Bond to now this just being himself, the wrestling purist. I don't like that it's been based on him swinging Rollins around. I mean, that's like childlike. I don't really that's silly to me. To me, that shouldn't even be a move that he does. You know what the swing is to me? The swing is like if you and your friends were to get in a wrestling ring and see how many times if you're messing around, you could swing one of your friends around. It's not like a real professional wrestler's maneuver. It shouldn't be. And I understand it, it could make your opponent pass out or whatever, but to me, it's not visually even pleasing. But, I mean, maybe that's just me. My pick on this is really tough. Really tough. I'm going to go Cesaro. He's a slight favorite. I'm going to go with what the odds are here, but I could easily see Seth winning. Cesaro, I think, is due for a big win. So I'm giving you guys my pick first. Cesaro wins. I'm not super confident, but I think he's owed a big win outside of winning Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal or whatever he does at WrestleMania. So I'm for Cesaro winning this. This is going to be a wrestling's purest match. If you love technical wrestling and hard hitting wrestling, this is your match. I'm looking forward to this from like a reversal and crazy maneuvers and all that kind of stuff. I think Cesaro wins. And Mimi, you go first on this.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I'm like I have a slight inkling to like pick Seth Rollins just because, kind of like what I said before, I can see just the lack of logic in it, and the less logic there is, the more of a chance that that's probably going to happen. But yeah, I think I'm going with Cesaro too. I think this is kind of like what I was saying before in the beginning of the show, like, right, crappy build, but the match is going to be great because the talent's great. They have millions and billions of dollars to get all this amazing talent and keep them. So they don't, it's like lazy booking with the swing thing. I actually don't mind all of it. And I think as much as I love Cesaro, most of it goes to Seth Rollins' credit. Because, again, similar to AJ Styles, I don't think he can do everything super well, but I think he plays this whiny little whatever jerk the best that anybody on the roster. I just think he's so great. Like you said, Matt, with the suits. I miss the old music. I miss the Messiah gimmick. I thought that was money. I thought that was so good. I think it deserved a faction. Even without a faction, I thought it was incredible. I think Seth Rollins pulled it off better than anything he's ever done in his career, and I feel bad it never, like everything else, right, in this company, never got legs under it, never got himself like off its feet. Like, it was so good, and I don't like this burn it down music and this tweener in between his old gimmick and this one. But like you said, I love the suits, but as the match, I think you said it perfectly. I think it's just going to be a great match. I think anything more than 15 minutes, though, you risk kind of like, I don't know. I don't think the build, as bad as it's been, I don't think the build leans it to have any more than a 15-minute match. But like you said, anywhere under 10 minutes too, it feels like it's not getting its just due. I don't know. I think this is going to be a great match. Like we said, I think that's the given. Then again, though, I want to say Fastlane, you probably expected Shinsuke Nakamura and Seth Rollins to put on a great match, and I thought that match was boring as all hell.
Mm-hmm.
So, fingers crossed this goes well. Cesaro deserves it. I could see Cesaro going for the championship, not winning it, but just going on a challenging run after WrestleMania if they have him win this. That sounds like sound booking, so maybe I can't see it happening. But yeah, I'm excited for this. This is probably one of the matches I am most excited for on the card, just because, again, we all agree Cesaro deserves his just due, and Seth Rollins deserves his just due too. Guy has been incredible in this pandemic era when he's obviously been around. So,
Anthony, response?
I think that they almost have to have Seth Rollins win this match, and this is why. Think back to where Seth Rollins as a character was 2 years ago. He beat Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship at WrestleMania, and he had a pretty solid run with it that all obviously culminated with The Fiend and the infamous Hell in a Cell match, and ultimately losing it to him at Saudi Arabia. But since then, over the last year and a half, he's been good. Don't get me wrong. Like, I've liked the Messiah thing for the most part. I preferred it when AOP was with him. Before the Mysterio rivalry got beaten to death, I thought it was good. Since he's come back, I found him entertaining. All that. I have no problem with Seth Rollins. But he slowly but surely just slid and slid and slid and slid and slid down the card to the point where he honestly is like an afterthought when it comes to main eventers. And look, he lost last year at WrestleMania to KO, which I think was the right decision, more for KO than for Seth Rollins. But as much as I like Cesaro, I don't know if you could recuperate Seth's main event status if he loses to a career mid-carder like Cesaro on the quote-unquote grandest stage of them all. And this is no slight against Cesaro, but let's call a spade here. Seth Rollins is and will always be more important to the WWE than Cesaro. And that's just because he's emerged as one of the biggest names in the company over the last 5, 6, 7 years since the dissension of the Shield in 2014. So while I think Cesaro deserves this win, and you can make the case that he should win, I just think in the long-term outlook and the grand scheme of things, you can't really justify having Seth Rollins lose this match.
Well, it's also because he's Swiss, right? I mean, of course he can. I mean, God, I'll never forget that. But look, that's why this match is so difficult. If there was one match, and there's a lot of people I know that put money on WrestleMania, this one would be, you'd be insane to put money on this match. I'm very, it's like 51-49 in terms of the odds of Cesaro being the favorite. This is very difficult, and you can make a case for both guys. That's the thing. If both guys could win, if there was a result in which you could have two winners in this singles match, I would be for that scenario, because I think both guys do need a win badly. But you're right, to your point, Anthony. Seth Rollins is clearly the favorite in terms of the pecking order and totem pole of WWE talent. Seth Rollins is light years ahead of where Cesaro has been. Now, does that mean Cesaro can't go on a tear and they're going to give Cesaro a big push after WrestleMania? It's not impossible, but I have my doubts, right? Like, I have my doubts that Cesaro could be positioned in that way, the way WWE has treated him over the last 8 years or whatever it's been. And as great of a worker as he is, I think they look at him as just a really good worker. He's not good on the mic. That is well known. He can be okay to slightly good at times, but he's not very good. He's not very quick on his feet, at least not that I've seen in his persona. I just don't have a whole lot of faith that they believe Cesaro's the full package, and that he's just been kind of hiding behind just a wrestling purist, and he has this great promo and personality behind him. I don't think they think that. So with that said, they know they can get a great match out of Cesaro. He can work with anyone. And to put Seth Rollins with him, who can also work with anyone, they may look at this and go, well, who's really the investment of the future? who do we know is a proven commodity for the full package versus a guy that's just really good at one thing of the, a part of this job. And you're right. It could be them looking at Seth as the full package and investing in his character moving forward rather than Cesaro. All right. Mimi, any response?
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. I think it's a great point by Anthony. And I just see, like you said, Matt, about putting smiles on people's faces. I can't see a match where they're gonna anger more people than if they have Cesaro lose. But you made a good point, Matt. You said, like, if there was a way that they both could win in this match, they would, and they can. Like, not literally, right? But you can have people win in a loss. And so if they were going to do that with anybody, like to have Cesaro do that, fine. I guess I just don't have faith in WWE's booking and even just match archetypes to do that. But, like, you could have someone lose this big match or have Cesaro lose this big match but still look incredible and still come out the other side of it. I guess I just see... I see where you guys are coming from. Cesaro is not great on the mic. I think he's so much better when he's not scripted and he doesn't feel like he's forcing something. And, like, I could go to Talking Smack for that because everybody cuts just fire promos on Raw Talk and Talking Smack because they're not scripted, and I don't think Vince McMahon watches the show. But yeah, I don't know if they're. I would hope, especially with fans, hopefully slowly coming back into arenas, that they do something with Cesaro because he's not a spring chicken anymore. And WWE also has competition now that they can lose talent to. And I don't think they want to lose a guy like Cesaro. So if anything, I could see them just giving him the victory because they don't want him to leave.
Yeah. And Cesaro, like you said, the way to get this match, now that you're making me think about how they both win, is, okay, Seth Rollins goes over, but then Cesaro snaps, right? Like, after maybe Seth Rollins cheats to win, and that's fine. He's a heel. You could do that. And then Cesaro pretends to play the guy that, is a good sport, and you beat me, fair and square, whatever, goes for the handshake, and you see just something in his eyes snap, and he, like, bloodies Seth Rollins or something like that. I think the fans would be, I think they'd like that as well. To see an aggressive side of Cesaro that's not just wrestling, but rather some deeper level of emotion from Cesaro. Perhaps that is a way. Yeah. Anthony, any final thoughts?
No, it's just, I'm not going to lie. I've kind of always just seen Cesaro as not overrated by the fans, but more just like, maybe he just is what he is. And while maybe he could have used maybe a U.S. championship run or something like that, I've never really gotten the overhype about him. So I guess for me, it's just easier than for most people, where I just think that, like, Seth winning is kind of a no-brainer here. But maybe you could do it in a way where Seth dominates and then Buddy Murphy helps him get the leg up in a kind of hook or crook way to kind of save face for Cesaro. But I personally think it's kind of an easy decision to go with Seth.
Easy decision for, yeah, I see what you're saying. It's easy, but I think in most fans' eyes, they expect Cesaro to win here. So, all right, well, let's move on to a match that is just, I'm really scared about the comments and language for this next match. Shane McMahon versus Braun Strowman in a steel cage. God, who do I pick first on this? Anybody want to volunteer first on this? Because I can't go first on this, or I will... I may say some things I shouldn't. So
I'll go first.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Okay. So I'm a bit biased because, well, if you guys listen to my rivalry shows, I'm a huge Shane McMahon fan. For whatever reason, nobody understands it. Hell, I don't even understand it. I've always loved Shane McMahon. And Braun Strowman, I mean, I'm kind of indifferent on him, although I do find him pretty entertaining. And this is just another instance of the build being so poor and so juvenile and just not done correctly that you're not looking forward to it and the excitement isn't there. But when the match gets underway, I have a feeling that this could end up stealing the show. Maybe not in the terms of saying, like, oh, that was the match of the night, but that Shane McMahon's going to have something crazy happen to him. I mean, I'm really looking forward to this match just because I think that their styles are actually going to mesh well. I think Shane has always had good chemistry with like big power wrestlers. Like I remember his program with Kane in 2003. They had a couple of really, really good matches. The ambulance match, the last man standing match. So, I mean, I'm really looking forward to this match. I'm expecting Braun Strowman to win. Obviously, I'm putting the horrible build aside, but the match itself, I'm actually expecting good things.
Mimi.
Yeah, Anthony, I think you're the only person in the world looking forward to this match. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just so biased as well because I can't stand Braun Strowman to the point. I think I say this a million times. I'd rather watch paint dry than watch Braun Strowman do anything ever. I think the most interesting thing about him is his new choo-choo noise, and I just tore that apart on the highs and lows because what are they doing? It's kind of like when you think, oh my God, they can't go any lower. They can't seep any lower, and then they play Thomas the Train while Braun Strowman runs around the ring. It's getting worse and worse. And they had the Kids' Choice Awards make an appearance on Raw with the green slime. This is all so bad. And like all the bells and whistles aside, the actual build to this match, fine, right? Someone calls someone stupid, whatever. We've seen worse. In these matches at WrestleMania, I think, in their builds, but it's the Braun proving Shane right part that drives me nuts. Like, if Braun Strowman was really a smart person, right, why would he choose a steel cage match when you can literally walk out the door? Like, which is again the worst stipulation ever. I'm okay with them climbing over, fine, but like, maybe he didn't choose a Hell in a Cell match because he knew Shane was gonna jump off it, but I have no idea. I think Shane McMahon is lucky that he wrestles once a year, and that's why he can do all this fun stuff, that he jumps off stuff and whatever, because he gets to recuperate for 364 days a year. I think he's a stunt man, not a wrestler. And so whatever, I've seen worse, but this is just eye-rolling stuff. I guarantee there's going to be Hooker Crook with Elias and Jackson Riker, who's a whole nother conversation I have. But yeah, Braun Strowman proving the D plus and the 2+2. They had a 2+2 = 5 thing with him photoshopped with a dunce cap. I sometimes I think I dreamed that. It was so, for lack of a better word, stupid. So I don't care who wins this match. You know who wins this match is nobody. Probably Shane McMahon, because he's Shane McMahon. I can't see him having enough, or this company having enough welfare to give Braun Strowman a win like that. And I don't care, guys. I don't care. This is the one match I couldn't care less about.
So, yes. Now, is this the most hated match on the card for me? No. Actually, not even by a long shot. I have the next match is probably and I'll get to that, of course, in a minute, is my most despised match of the year. But this match, again, as we alluded to at the very beginning of our conversation, the build to this is what really did it for me. Now, yeah, Shane McMahon may be a stuntman. Braun Strowman may be the most one-dimensional monster that WWE has ever had, always having to talk in a scary voice. I mean, he always has to put his mouth over the mic. And what really did it for me this past week is when Braun Strowman, they were trying to position Braun Strowman as this guy that was bullied throughout his life, that he was called stupid. And
he was Nia Jax, Matt.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but he's Nia Jax and Shane McMahon is Alexa Bliss. And does anybody else remember that feud?
Yep.
What?
I think that they think that we don't have any memory, and that we are just, I guess, the pun, stupid enough to believe that Braun Strowman was bullied throughout his life and people calling him stupid. I highly doubt that a 6'7", 300-pound man was called stupid many times to his face. I very much doubt that. Now, it whispers behind the scenes, maybe from a very long distance, sure. But I very much doubt anyone has the balls to call Braun Strowman stupid to his face. And how old are we anyway, by the way? I understand this whole thing was built off at I'm Stupid, which is really just ridiculous on its face. But then you're telling me that he had to struggle through this whole life of people calling him stupid, and that he's going to fight for everybody that has ever been called stupid. Don't try to tell me I'm supposed to live vicariously through you. Look, all throughout our lives, everyone's dealt with bullies in one fashion or another. Social media or in elementary, middle school is brutal. We all know that. High school can be a little tough, but after high school, it's kind of like, all right, you learn how to deal with people. You know how to, you know how to kind of like just move on, gain self-confidence, whatever it may be. That whole premise really set me off, that now they're transparently trying to force me to believe that this dude is the perfect shining example of somebody that would be called stupid, and that I'm supposed to be living vicariously through this man. But as far as this match goes, look, my pick is Braun Strowman. And I hope I'm surprised by this match. I hope that I am going into this match with a low bar because the build was god-awful, and then I am surprised by the quality of this match. I hope I am. I'm not rooting against these guys. Shane McMahon's going to jump off of the top of the stadium if he would. I mean, that's the spot we're all looking for, is Shane McMahon to put his life in jeopardy every WrestleMania. Braun Strowman, again, is probably going to hit a couple of big moves. Shane McMahon will look impossibly on equal footing to Braun Strowman, as Shane McMahon does every year with AJ Styles or The Undertaker. Take your pick. But the steel cage match stipulation is, as Mimi said, just absolutely ridiculous. And Braun Strowman could have chose anything, and he chooses a steel cage match. I mean, you might as well have just not put any stipulation in there, because like you said, has he never watched wrestling a day in his life? I mean, you work in this industry. Have you never seen interference in a steel cage match ever? And the fact that you can walk out the door, how is escaping the stipulation that is supposed to keep people in a way to win the match? It's ridiculous. To me, steel cage matches should be pinfall or submission only, because it totally goes against the whole purpose of a steel cage, which is to keep people in and have no interference, where nowhere to go, and yet you can win by doing the very thing the steel cage match is designed to prevent. It's ridiculous of the whole thing. But anyway, Braun Strowman's my pick. I'll go into this with an open mind and pretend the build didn't exist. That's how I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Like, I'm just my motto going into this WrestleMania for like 80% of the matches is just trying to forget about what the builds were and just try and take the matches for what they are. And I truly do believe this is going to be a very good match. I think Braun Strowman's going to win. I don't think Shane McMahon has ever won a WrestleMania match beside his one-on-one match with Vince at WrestleMania 17, which was his first WrestleMania match. So, I don't know. I think it's going to be entertaining. I'm expecting Shane to get his body beaten down like always at WrestleMania, but I'm just going to try and forget about the build going into this one. Anything, Mimi, or do you want to move on to the next match?
Well, so you guys, from what I'm hearing, are picking Braun.
Yes, we are.
No, I want to move on. I'm so sick of talking about that.
All right, well, you're not going to enjoy this next one, and neither am I. Bad Bunny and Damian Priest versus The Miz and John Morrison. Mimi, go ahead. I've got no words.
Yeah, I actually think I don't hate this as much as you do, just because. Just bear with me. Maybe I can shift your perspective a tiny bit. If you'll be a little bit more flexible with it than I was with Braun Strowman and Shane McMahon. So, celebrities in WWE is a topic. I'm sure we could do an entire show about that, which is actually not a bad idea. But I think are tough to get right, and I would say about 9 times out of 10 they don't get them right. And I feel like I've pointed you to that Shaq match a million times, Matt. But that was done right. Like, so well done. To the fact that, again, on AEW this week, they're having a women's match that was built because of that match with Shaq. Like, so not just a pointless, rating popper. Like, it was done really well. And so this whole Bad Bunny thing, I'm with you. I'm 22. We've talked about this. I feel like I'm the demographic, and I've never heard of Bad Bunny until he came onto WWE. My fiance had, but I think I'm just not cool. But so I didn't know who he was. I think the promo this week was long-winded, and he clearly kind of struggled through it, I think, with some of the English stuff, and I get that. But I think this could have been a lot worse than it was. I actually wanted a singles match more so because I thought it would be shorter and it would keep more of the focus on just what the story's been about rather than having Damian Priest and John Morrison be involved. I don't know why I wanted a singles match. I guess I was more excited for that, but I know John Morrison and Damian Priest both had minor injuries and they weren't sure if they were going to be able to have them wrestle at WrestleMania, and so that's why they did that whole thing. But yeah, I think we all know Bad Bunny probably wins this somehow. I'm excited to see, just kind of like the Omos thing, I'm excited to see what he's able to do. I don't think we're going to see any, like you said, chin holds or anything like that. But I think it's a nice breath of fresh air. It's something for The Miz to do. I think for anybody else to be in this match, it would be way worse than it already is. I think The Miz is a perfect slot in this. And I think celebrities in WWE and wrestling as a whole aren't going anywhere because they're a draw. And so if you like Bad Bunny, you're going to like this match. I'll try to be quick about this, but I think, Matt, you said, too, you listened to that Big Show or Paul White interview on Jericho's podcast. He pitched having, what's his name, Justin Bieber do a match with him and John Cena. And they said no because he wouldn't draw any fans or wouldn't draw any audience. And I'm like, no, but Bad Bunny and Logan Paul are going to draw audience, but Justin Bieber wouldn't. Yeah. My point to that whole thing is that the celebrity and wrestling thing, you can do both. You can have him draw audience, but you can also have him, play to the hardcore fans, if that's what you want to call us, and put on something that's a little bit fun, a little bit different, and a breath of fresh air. Maybe you put this on after the Cesaro-Seth Rollins match, so you can keep a tone where you're going from intense wrestling to a little goofy, and maybe you put another wrestling match and then Shane McMahon. I think it's all going to depend on how it's presented. But I don't hate this. I did hate the watercolor paint that they used. You couldn't crash or destroy the car. How many cars have they destroyed in WWE? Randy Orton, JBL, Shane McMahon. I think we could, Vince McMahon. I feel like we could all name a car that has been destroyed somehow in WWE. But no, they water painted his Bugatti.
Yeah,
that, by the way,
it was watercolor
awful.
Figure paint. I know.
Yeah. Well, how am I supposed to relate though to the guy? Cool, he pulls up a Bugatti. I don't like you. Have you ever turned at a red light to the guy on your left in the Porsche with a really loud engine and been like, "Huh, he seems like a really cool guy"?
Yeah. Don't get me started. Anthony, go ahead.
Yeah, there could not be lower interest for this match on my part. Honestly, as soon as I actively start cheering for the heels, I know that WWE is doing something wrong here. And Bad Bunny is probably the most unlikable human I've ever come across on WWE television. I think he's bringing down Damian Priest because of it. There's just there's no redeeming qualities about his on-screen character or how he's portraying himself on screen. As much as I'm not the biggest fans of Miz and Morrison, I think it's a slap in the face to those two that they're being relegated to this garbage. They deserve much better than this, especially John Morrison, who has really just been the Miz's sidekick since returning. I think WWE should honestly be embarrassed for what they're doing. And it's shameful. These are the kinds of things, and Matt, you said before, but garbage like this is what justifies people to make fun of wrestling and makes you embarrassed to be a wrestling fan. It's just straight up garbage because what's going to happen? Damian Priest is going to do all the in-ring work, and John Morrison and The Miz are going to make it look really good, and then Bad Bunny's going to get the 1, 2, 3, the pinfall. And then we're all supposed to cheer in unison? No, I'm sorry. I don't even want to give WWE the satisfaction of watching this match. This has toilet break written all over it.
So, Mimi, just to be clear, your pick is Damian Priest and Bad Bunny, right?
Yes.
Okay, and Anthony, you're saying, I think we all are on the same page then. Okay, it does scream bathroom break. It screams change the channel so your friends don't think you're a loser and you're stupid. So that you watch wrestling. I would watch. I don't know what the hell am I watching? I'm rewatching Game of Thrones with my wife, so I would throw on Game of Thrones for an episode and part of it, and watch this during it so my friends don't see. Well, my wife thinks wrestling's stupid anyway. But anyway, so this thing, I really don't want to rehash everything that I've been just trashing about this entire storyline over the next couple of minutes here. But I will say this. I think that this match was originally, we all know it was a singles match between Bad Bunny and The Miz. But I think there's a reason that it turned to a tag team match. And I think it's because either they realized Bad Bunny and The Miz, or Bad Bunny is not as far along as they would have liked in terms of his training or whatever he was doing to make sure that he's prepared for this, quote, match with The Miz. Or they just didn't want the crowd to turn on it, completely turn on it and crap all over it, just boo everything they do, like circa Goldberg and Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 20, just completely destroy this match. And they are hoping that Damian Priest and John Morrison are going to be quote, the actual wrestlers in the match, so it doesn't seem like it's a total disaster, embarrassment of a match of just Bad Bunny versus The Miz, because Bad Bunny can't hold up his end of the deal. So I think that those two, Damian Priest and John Morrison, were added because of the fact that they are the cushion for maybe the crowd completely turning on this. And having The Miz, again, having Miz and Morrison, as much as I despise them, and I have destroyed them over the last 6 months or more, and I stand by everything I've said, but the fact that, as you said, Anthony, that we're cheering for the heels, the fact that I'm cheering for Miz and Morrison, where I've stood and sat here at my desk and I have destroyed them week after week after week, and I'm now cheering for them in this match, says a whole lot about how I feel about Bad Bunny and Damian Priest. And I think that this is just really the out-of-touch creative that is just unfortunately running rampant through WWE when they bring in a celebrity, that they almost never make the celebrity heel, at least not by design. They did it with Floyd Money Mayweather and Big Show. And we're supposed to relate to this guy that has billions of dollars and has all of this backup and runs his mouth, and we're supposed to cheer for this dude. And yet at WrestleMania, the crowd was the complete opposite. I remember watching that. And this is the same exact deal, a little bit scaled down, obviously. Bad Bunny is a musician. He is not a wrestler. He is not a fighter. He is 140 pounds. I mean, he runs his mouth and then has Damian Priest back him up. In what world is that a good trait? In what world is that an admirable trait where you run your mouth and then you can, just stand back while your heavy does the work? And this is exactly what it is. And the Bugatti, yeah, that's completely relatable, right? I don't think that anyone in the sound of my voice owns a Bugatti or knows someone that owns a Bugatti. Or if you do, more than likely, you probably don't have high opinion about that person on a personal level. I really venture to guess that you probably don't. Not that money is evil, but if you're going to spend that much money on a Bugatti, I don't know. I just think that this is not relatable whatsoever. Damian Priest is damaged, as you guys said. I think Damian Priest is coming out of this and going to have to take many showers to get the stink of this storyline off him once Bad Bunny wins and goes away, because that's what's going to happen here. So Miz and Morrison take the loss. Bad Bunny pins the Miz, and we're all supposed to cheer. I hope the crowd destroys Bad Bunny on this. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if WWE, this is one of those matches that they try to manipulate the crowd noise. I would be very surprised if they don't during this match. I think the crowd is, if left to their own devices and unedited, I think the crowd is going to absolutely destroy Bad Bunny and Damian Priest in this match. As much as of good heels as Miz and Morrison are, I think they're going to absolutely destroy him, and I'm looking forward to that the most. So last thing I'll say on this, and we can move on because there's really not much more to say, is that I understand the need to bring in celebrities, or at least the temptation to bring in celebrities. We understand, if they're running a business, wouldn't you want as many eyeballs on the product as you can get, especially during WrestleMania season? I understand that. But I can guarantee you that even if there are people that are following Bad Bunny on Spotify, wherever, he's very successful musically, very successful musician. We know this. I didn't know who he was anyway. I mean, I'm 36, but you said maybe that you're 22 and you still didn't know who he was, but nonetheless, he does have millions of fans out there. And if you're a fan of his and you're like, whoa, what's he doing? He's in wrestling? What's he doing? and you tune into WrestleMania to, number one, I really doubt you're going to purchase a Peacock subscription just to see Bad Bunny in this match. And even if you did, you're going to probably look at this and go, what kind of crap is this? What's he doing? All right, no, I'm not. Like, nobody is watching this who is going to then transition to a WWE fan and pay a subscription on Peacock to become a regular charged fan just because Bad Bunny's in this match. I can guarantee you that there is almost a net gain of 0 by bringing in Bad Bunny. So any final thoughts, guys, before we move on to the next match?
Good. 0.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, exactly.
Good.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay. Let's get on to a serious match here, one that I think we won't crap on so much, and that is Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. As we said, this one was announced to be closing the show. That came through Twitter just before we went on the air here. So Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair, I know we talked about it a lot at the beginning of the show, but let's talk about the match itself now. The build, we all know, has been ridiculous as far, in some aspects of, to me, Bianca not standing up for herself, taking some slaps and pushes and shoves, and then just, basically threatening to point at the WrestleMania sign instead of, retaliating. Yes, she slapped Sasha last week, and then this week she has an attempted backstabber on her by Sasha, and then Bianca doesn't do anything, just stands there and goes, "Oh, girl, you're going to get it at WrestleMania." Like, what the F? Like, I like Bianca Belair, but man, oh man, can you just stand up for yourself and stop trying to tell us that taking the moral high road is a better way? This is pro wrestling. I don't need you. This isn't church on Sunday morning. Like, I need you to stand up for yourself and whoop her ass. Like, that's what you should do. Chase her out of the ring. But instead you stand there like you're on some kind of moral high ground, and then we're all supposed to admire you for taking the high road. People don't want you to take the high road in wrestling. They want to see blood and guts and, not in PG, but anyway, so the match itself is what I want to focus on. Anthony, I'll start with you. Who wins this, and are you looking forward to the quality of the match? Any kind of double turn, anything weird like that, or is it pretty straight up for you?
I'm really looking forward to this match. I think that this is probably going to be the best match of night one. I think Bianca Belair is going to win. I don't think there's a way that she can't. I really do believe that her and Rhea Ripley are the future of this division, and it's crazy to say that because it feels like just yesterday we were saying that about Charlotte Flair and Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch. But I just think that Bianca Belair is probably the most natural female babyface they've had in quite some time. I thought they had that for a bit with Becky Lynch, but she kind of soured on for me towards the end. I just think this is a can't miss here. And, Sasha Banks can bring in the ring. So, look, I'm really looking forward to this match, and I just can't wait to fast forward through Sasha Banks' entrance.
Mimi?
I don't think you can do that on Peacock. I think they don't even let you rewind or anything.
You can't do anything on Peacock. Yeah, it's.
I know.
But I live in Canada, so I still have the network.
Oh, you
that is
son
one
of
of the many benefits of not living in this country.
Oh, damn. All right. Yeah.
Well, I think I kind of disagree with Anthony, and maybe this is just a subjective opinion, but I actually feel like I'm forcing myself more and more to like Bianca Belair. And I want to say, I think naturally, yes, she was super likable. Just she seems very humble, and she makes her own ring gear. There's something just kind of quirky and fun about that. There's little things about her that's naturally likable. But I think she's so limited as a woman on the mic. I feel like this. I've said this a million times. Put her with Tamina, put her with Bianca, put her with whoever. If she had Zelina Vega by her side, they could be best team, whatever you manager, wrestler team you have. But the WWE screwed that one up. So, but with this match, I think Bianca Belair is super limited because she's the kind of wrestler that's really good on the mic at best when the scripting's good. And I would say 8 out of 10 times the scripting's awful. And an ad lib here or there by her when she puts her own spin on it, it's great. But I don't think she's a great promo. And I think she's probably going to be, or would probably be, an even worse promo if she didn't have lines to read, because I think she's just maybe she's still new and she's got to come into her own a little bit more. I guarantee I'll take this back in like 2 years from, 2 years time. Cause I know she's still, actually, I think she's older than Sasha, but anyways, the point being, I guess, is that I think Bianca Belair wins this as well. I think it would be one of the biggest mistakes for Sasha Banks to win this match. I know there's the whole, stigma that Sasha Banks can't retain, but if they had done more than the Carmella feud, that wouldn't be here anymore, but they didn't. So they just did the whole can they get along thing. So whatever. But yeah, I think Bianca Belair goes over this. I think the best way this match can go is that I'm gonna point it to like a Brock Lesnar Daniel Bryan match at Survivor Series, I think. When Daniel Bryan, low blowed AJ Styles and they had that whole match. And the reason I pointed to that is because I don't know about you guys, if you can even remember that, but I legitimately felt bad for Brock Lesnar in that match. Daniel Bryan was such a good little heel, and I mean little just in size in comparison to Brock Lesnar, just the way he wrestled in that match and told a story in the ring. I felt bad for Brock Lesnar. I felt bad for the Beast. And so I think Sasha Banks has to do something similar in this match. I think it can't be all flash. I think Sasha Banks has to go full heel. I want to hear her get booed out the building, which I don't think is going to happen because people seem to just have an infatuation with Sasha Banks. Maybe I don't get it. But I think she's got to wrestle like Daniel Bryan at Survivor Series, and you got to have Bianca Belair be the bigger woman, strength-wise and such, but still kind of be the underdog. And I think that's what was supposed to be the undertone of this match, but it got lost probably underneath Reginald and Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. So whatever.
Yeah. So first of all, the analogy of Daniel Bryan and Brock Lesnar. Yes, that's fine. I haven't thought about that match in quite a while, but you're right. And this match is, number one, quality-wise, I don't think anyone's concerned quality-wise. Bianca Belair has shown what she can do, and even if you didn't really know who she was, what she did at the Royal Rumble and the final two with Rhea Ripley was, to me, it was so much better than the Men's Royal Rumble in terms of the finish. I really, really enjoyed the finish of the Women's Royal Rumble this year, and Bianca Belair is certainly athletic. We know that she can go in the ring. That's not the issue. Quality-wise, this is going to be just fine and even probably very, very good. And we're all looking forward to that part of it. On the mic, she's not the best. She's not a fully polished performer yet. I mean, she does read her lines well. She's starting to feel a little bit more comfortable on the mic. Week by week, I'm starting to see general slow improvements on the mic. It's going to come. I think it's going to happen. I think it's just going to take time for her. It's not that she is unmanageable and embarrassing on the mic or unwatchable. She's good. And then there's like moments. And then she's good. And then there's a couple of moments. It's very up and down with her, but slowly trending up, if that makes sense. So I have no issue with this match. I don't think that they would have this match go on last if Sasha Banks was going to retain. I think people would lose their minds if that's the case. To me, if it's on last, that does just put a nail in the coffin of Sasha Banks's championship run. There is just really almost no way that Sasha Banks retains here. I think Bianca Belair wins the championship. She's going on last on top of it. But at the same time, is there that small sliver that Sasha could retain? I think there's a very small chance. I kind of look at this like the way that we all looked at Sasha or Becky Lynch and Shayna Baszler last year, where we all thought it was a foregone conclusion that Becky Lynch was going to lose and Shayna was going to become champion. And when she didn't, people were like, what the hell's going on? I mean, even I was like, at that point, we were all kind of Beckied out of her being a champion, and she was becoming very arrogant, making her own, like, she was coming in like monster trucks and like weird stuff, very arrogant. And to me, yeah, she had a baby, but it was the best time career-wise for her to also take a break. So Shayna Baszler lost last year. We're all just befuddled. So is that chance this happens this year? I think a very, very small chance. But this is a almost slam dunk of a selection here of Bianca Belair winning. But I will ask this to both of you. It's interesting and we have one more match here for night one and move to night two. No Charlotte, no Bayley, and I know that we're talking about SmackDown and Raw here. Also, no Keith Lee. A lot of people are not on this card. And I don't want to go too long on this, But Mimi, let me ask you: no Charlotte, no Bayley, no Keith Lee. What do you think about this? What do you think is going on? I know that there was the rumors of Charlotte being pregnant. She's not pregnant. She has COVID, but then she should be over it. Bayley's more of a mystery, and same with Keith Lee. So, what do you think?
I think it's awful. I also want to point out too, like you said about Sasha Banks quickly, if she wins, I think that goes up there in mistakes with the. And you know, I've talked about it on this podcast too. Charlotte Flair is my favorite of all time. Period. Men, women. Yep. Toasters, whatever you identify as. Charlotte Flair is my favorite of all time. And, you know, what she's been doing lately hasn't been wonderful. But I just want to point out the fact that I don't know if you guys saw this or if you ever read this, but this WrestleMania, the planned booking was Lacey Evans as the Raw Women's Champion versus a Charlotte Flair. That whole feud was supposed to lead to the main, or the not main event, but to lead to WrestleMania. So just want to throw that out there. That was the original plan. Akin to, remember when Randy Orton versus Batista as the main event was the plan, and Daniel Bryan saved us all from that 20-minute headlock fest. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, yeah, I think this whole thing is a travesty with Bayley and Charlotte Flair. I think with Keith Lee, from what I hear, he's just got some personal issues going on. Again, we don't really know. I don't know if he's annoyed with the company. I would be if I were Keith Lee, to send him back to do training to be more of a quote-unquote big man, when the whole fun part about Keith Lee is the stuff he can do in the ring. So I don't know exactly what's going on with Keith Lee. But in regards to Bayley and Sasha, I think Bayley is the biggest crime here. I think we're going to see her on the card. And maybe that's just my hopes. But she has not made enough of a ruckus about not being on the card for me to think that she's actually not going to show up. Dream booking would be that open challenge for Bayley, and then Matt, I'm bringing it up, Becky Lynch. Mm-hmm. You have Becky Lynch come back. I don't know, Anthony, if you saw that, but I sent it to Matt earlier today. Becky posted on her Instagram, and the caption was this whole thing, but the first letters of the whole thing were night one, kind of teasing her possibly being there for night one. So I want to see them somehow. I don't care how they get to it, but a Bayley, you throw Charlotte in there, a Bayley, Charlotte, Becky triple threat for no reason. That's probably going to be the best match of the night. So I don't know how they get there. Maybe Io Shirai comes up. You know, she just lost her title to Raquel Gonzalez. Maybe they do something with that. But I think Bayley's going to be on the card somehow, some way. I'd be really angry if she wasn't. I think she should be the host of WrestleMania, and they should get the other guy off wrestling.
I didn't bring that up. Oh my God, I forgot.
Yeah. I'm not even going there right now. But yeah, I think Bayley is going to be on the card somehow. I don't think Charlotte is, and I don't know why. I think it's really upsetting. I think that WrestleMania, as many participation awards as are given to all these people who are just on the card to be on the card, and you can't even get Charlotte Flair, in my opinion, the greatest women's wrestler, on the card somehow. I don't know if they're angry about the Andrade thing. I don't know if she's causing a ruckus because of that whole thing. I know she's an outspoken person, but she seems healthy according to social media. I think there's just something going on that we don't know, and I think it's definitely going to hinder the product. The only way to salvage that is maybe you get a Rhea Ripley Charlotte Flair thing after WrestleMania. If Rhea Ripley wins, I'm sure we'll get into that later, but I still think it's awful. I think they should have had a triple threat match with those three women. I mean, the story to be told with that, with both women, similar to like the Royal Rumble when we were like, just not Charlotte. And I was with everybody too. I was like, just not Charlotte, as much as I love her. We want a Bianca or Rhea. I think the same thing with the Asuka, Charlotte, Rhea Ripley triple threat. We just have it just not Charlotte, but it would still be probably the match of the night in my opinion. So yeah, all in all, I think Bayley's going to be on the card somehow. Tag team turmoil, exhibition, whatever, just being Bayley, that'd be great. I think Bayley should come out and say, I just took out Hulk Hogan and I'm the new host of WrestleMania. I think she'd get the biggest pop that we've heard since Edge. Yeah. So yeah, what about you, Anthony?
I mean, I'm more disappointed with Bayley because I feel like in a lot of ways she was the best women's wrestler for about 12 to 15 months straight. Like Charlotte, I guess it's maybe because we kind of got a Charlotte overload. I do like Charlotte, but she went away after kind of getting that overload when she got injured. And then when she came back, I felt like her return really fell flat to me. So when she went away, it wasn't like I was missing her at all. And through no fault of her own, I just think it was a result of bad booking. Keith Lee, it just feels like he never fully got off the ground, to be honest. Uh, Through no fault of his own, it seems like there was a disconnect between Vince McMahon and himself and creative and whatnot. But I think of all the people we just mentioned, Bailey is the one I'm missing the most, particularly.
Yeah, especially considering that, like you said, she really carried the women's division on SmackDown for and really the entire women's division at some points.
I say she carried the whole show.
Yeah. She was, her and Sasha were just gold for several months. And if you had said at that moment, no, she's not going to be on the WrestleMania card, you would have been you would have not believed it. I mean, it's really amazing. And yes, of course, we don't know what's happening on SmackDown right now. There could be, well, actually, SmackDown's ended now, but you could have seen something on there that would have alluded to Bayley coming back. But again, it is very shocking. So, okay, let's move on to the WWE Championship match here that was originally scheduled for the main event, but looks like it's semi-main now. Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. Anthony, go ahead.
Bobby Lashley all the way here. Another match where I think that the build was kind of not done properly. Like, I hate WrestleMania matches where it's just announced. I believe they just announced this match to main event, or one of the main events, a world title match at WrestleMania that opened a Monday Night Raw. Just completely random. I feel like them breaking up the Hurt Business kind of overshadowed it. I found the timing of that very, very bizarre. Drew McIntyre starting to get a bit stale, but not quite there yet. But all that being said, I really like what they're doing with Bobby Lashley. I think that him and MVP have a really, Lesnar-Heyman-esque thing going on. I love what they're doing. So I'm looking forward to the match. This is a match that you and I were talking about last summer, about how they had their one and done it. I want to say it was Backlash. I'm not 100% certain, though. And that we were thinking that it could have been an extended promo, but to WWE's credit, they elected to take the long route to get here, and it has all paid off. But I really think it's going to be Bobby Lashley. It has to be Bobby Lashley. It's his time to shine right now.
Mimi.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think Bobby Lashley takes this, or at least should take this. I think I agree. I love the MVP Bobby Lashley pairing. I think Bobby Lashley needs to stop talking so much, though. Maybe it just, to me, how Lesnar has that high pitched voice and it kind of throws you off. It's just being the beast or whatever. I don't know. When there's something when Bobby Lashley talks, it throws me off him being this beast of a man. So yeah, I'm with you. I think Bobby Lashley takes this, or like I said, should take this. I think the Hurt Business thing, I think people are a little bit, again, I think there's a WWE curve where, if you really remember, the Hurt Business wasn't all that great. They were baby faces for one segment, taking on Retribution, and then heels in the next. There was like a lot of bad booking with the Hurt Business, but they were definitely a glimmer of hope. Like it was almost like a trust the performers, not the process thing. Like they were still cool, even though WWE tried its absolute best to make us not think that. But yeah, I hate that too, Anthony, that they just announced the match. I think the reason they did that too was, remember, they were supposed to have tickets on sale earlier than they did. They like delayed it, and I think they didn't have a main event for night one at that point, and so they just announced the match to sell tickets, which didn't really work because they're still not sold out. So I don't know, but I think that's why they did that whole thing they don't care about storytelling, so they'd rather make sure they're making money rather than telling a story. So I think that's why they did that. I think the better thing to do would have had Sheamus versus McIntyre for number one contendership or something. But instead, you just have to beat Drew McIntyre to get into the main event. And that, I think, also makes me like him less. I don't know about you guys, but that's just entitledness and stuff like that. Like the Roman Reigns 2016 booking, like he's just superhero handicap matches. It's like John Cena at its worst. I'm rooting for Bobby Lashley all of a sudden, but I'm sure Drew McIntyre will make me root for him during the match because he's a great worker. So yeah, that's what I have to say.
That's to me the most, well, one of, not the most, but one of the most interesting pieces to this, and I've said this on my show earlier this week, is how do the crowd respond to this? Because you have Bobby Lashley, who is a guy that we all have felt has been long overdue for a major championship run. At the same time, the fans never really got to embrace Drew McIntyre in person last year, while we all had to sit home and listen to the eerily quiet Performance Center, and we didn't get that moment with Drew McIntyre. Yet he's also been champion for the better part of a year. So how does the crowd react to this? Who are they in support of? They can try to frame Bobby Lashley as a heel all day long. It's not going to make a damn bit of difference when it comes to WrestleMania and the fans that really understand this business and more than I think the casual fan does that, attends a house show or even a Monday Night Raw. These are your really, really ardent fans. So I don't know what the crowd reaction is going to be. I would think it's slightly in favor of Bobby Lashley, if not strongly in favor of Bobby Lashley. Maybe a 60-40 in favor of Bobby Lashley, even though there is a case to be made for Drew McIntyre to win here because there is that long overdue embrace that is due with Drew and the fans. But is it time to pull the trigger on that a year later, and his opponent's Bobby Lashley, who's a guy that is also similarly overdue for a championship run that the fans know he's been overdue and misused and misbooked for several years? It's a very difficult decision to make, and I think the fans are going to be conflicted all night long during this match of what to do, who to cheer for. I think there's going to be dueling chants. I think you're going to hear boos for both McIntyre and Lashley and cheers for both McIntyre and Lashley. I'll be very shocked if it's heavy, like 90-10 one way or the other. Even though McIntyre's the babyface here, again, I think fans have maybe kind of worn out as Drew as champion. He's really good as champion, but it's kind of like Bobby just won it. Why are we going to play games and just to give it back to McIntyre? Yes, he'll have that moment in front of fans that maybe that's due to him, but I don't think he's going to get the reaction that he would have gotten if it was last year. And this story, it doesn't, I think, really warrant a massive pro-Drew crowd. I just don't. I think most of those fans that are going to be there are the types of fans that recognize Bobby Lashley's journey and recognize that it's paralleled to Drew's and that McIntyre had his time and let Bobby also have his moment. It's not that Bobby Lashley has been a long-standing champion. He essentially just won it, a month ago. So here's my pick. I want Bobby Lashley to win. I'll be cheering for Bobby Lashley, but I think WWE is going to go with Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, I could see that going. I could see that happening too. Vince McMahon is just obsessed with the big, strong guys. So I could 100% see him going with Drew McIntyre. This company doesn't know how to book a baby face. Again, the more I see Drew McIntyre on my TV, the more I'm starting to hate him. And I would love to see him go off and do something else outside of the title picture for a little while and have Bobby Lashley get to be, the main event for a while too. And then maybe next year at WrestleMania, they come back to this, or maybe we get that triple threat with Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam.
That was my next question. Do either of you believe Brock Lesnar is going to show up, F5 somebody, maybe whoever wins gets an F5 or like what? So, Anthony, let me start with you. Do you believe Brock Lesnar will show up here and or the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania or not at all and sit in his farm in Montana?
I don't think so because I think that Brock is a guy who just cannot stand traveling. And right now, traveling is not the easiest thing in the world. And I believe he actually lives in Saskatchewan a lot of the time up here in Canada. And if that's the case, getting in and out of Canada right now with COVID protocol restrictions is no easy task, to say the least. So I really am not expecting to hear from Brock until both Canada and the United States are well out of COVID.
Mimi, what do you think? We'd
yeah,
see Brock?
I don't think Brock Lesnar. No. I don't think. I think he could care less about any of this. I'd be blown away. I think Vince McMahon would have to get him a private jet and so much more, and those little expensive peanuts you get in the mini fridges at hotels. Like, I don't think it's going to happen. But before we move on from night one, I think that was everything, right? I want to ask you guys, I know I said something about it, but I'm curious. There have been a lot of, and not you two included, but very ignorant men predicting that Becky Lynch is coming back a month after she had a baby and all of that other stuff. But I don't know. She looks great. She looks like she's, and it's in Florida. I'm not saying maybe it's a one-off. I don't know. But do you guys think, I mean, she teased it. I can't imagine her doing that and not paying it off. Do you guys see Becky Lynch returning tomorrow night? Is it tomorrow night? It's tomorrow night.
Tomorrow
right?
night. No, it would be because she's a Raw superstar, right? So it wouldn't be until Sunday night.
Well, that's another good question too. I mean, she put night one on the Instagram. That's why I ask. I mean, I also wonder too, right? Like we've seen her. One, could it be something with Seth Rollins? And then two, we've seen her do the whole Raw thing. Besides Rhea Ripley, really, could we see her go to SmackDown and get some new matchups?
So
Just
first,
a thought.
let me answer your question first about do I think Becky Lynch returns at all at WrestleMania? I would put it at a 1 in 3 chance. There have been times that wrestlers know exactly what they're doing, right? And why would she? While you could be right, why would she want to spoil her return? I mean, a return like that's a big return to do, and fans are going to easily pick up and go, "Oh, she's talking about WrestleMania. Okay, cool. We'll see you tomorrow night." I think surprises are something that is very difficult to do in today's day and age, social media, everything like that. If I was Becky Lynch and I was WWE, I would say don't put anything up, just act normal. Don't be cryptic. Don't do, nothing like that. So while she's doing those things that she knows what she's doing, why would she want to? And why would WWE be okay with her essentially spoiling it? Could they not care about the spoiling and just go, well, even though we kind of, tipped our hand and fans kind of know what we're saying, the fact is, like, we might get more subscriptions out of it, so we don't really care. More people are going to tune in to see Becky return. I actually, if I was going to put money on it, I would say no. I don't think we see Becky Lynch because I think she's just messing with fans. I mean, she had her baby, in December? So that's, 4 months ago that she had her baby. And, look, everyone's can do what they want. Everyone's grown adults. And when you have a kid, things change. I know this, but I don't know. I mean, does she want to pursue motherhood? Does she want to just be a full-time mom? I mean, when she goes back traveling, because while COVID is still around, it's not going to be around forever. And eventually WWE is going to travel as they did. I mean, on a 4 nights, 5 nights a week, you're going to be on the road traveling. And does she want to go back to that life? Or maybe she does want to be just a full-time mom. That's her decision. I would like to see Becky Lynch. I'm ready for a jolt of energy in the women's division. I don't think so, but I would certainly not put it past WWE to bring her back. What do you think, Anthony?
I'm not sure. It's tough.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough because, like, my gut is saying there's no chance, but then why would she make a call like that on social media?
Yeah.
Unless she's just teasing the fan.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I'm gonna say no, just because big returns like that don't usually happen at WrestleMania. It seems like kind of more of like a blow-off card. But, I mean, I'm not going to completely discount the possibility. So I would say 1 in 4 chance, 25%.
You guys think maybe you just made me think of something. Maybe they tease or they show a preview for some documentary of Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch in the past couple months. Maybe that's what she's talking about. Maybe it's not necessarily a return. She did do that thing with the curtain, didn't she? A couple of months ago. Do you guys remember what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah. People were like, "Oh my God, she's coming!" Yes, it was the Rumble. I think it was Rumble
I don't
time.
know if it was intentional or not, but
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if she's CM punking us, but just exciting to think about nonetheless. Because I mean, I don't know, the potential of Rhea Ripley, Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, Becky Lynch, even seeing the 4 horsewomen clash again. I need it because I'm sick of Lana.
Oh, God. And I think in 2021, we will see Becky Lynch. I was predicting more of SummerSlam time for her to return. Again, the problem is it's not like it's an injury, right? Like this is not an injury that she has, a sickness. This is the fact that she had a child, and it's a personal decision that is not anything that anyone can set in stone. No doctor can tell you, oh, well, it's 4 to 6 months for a shoulder recovery, or after shoulder surgery. This is a personal decision on her part. That's what makes it so hard to predict is when does she want to leave that life of being a mom and become, Becky Lynch again? That's the problem. That's what makes it so difficult to predict. It's not a typical injury that we know the time frame of. So, all right. Yeah, but I'll certainly be looking for it. If I hear her music, I mean, the crowd's going to lose it. The crowd would lose their minds. That would be a massive pop, too. So, all right, let's get to night 2 and start with the United States Championship. Riddle versus Sheamus. Mimi, go.
I mean, I think we've already seen the match, so give me like a 1 minute squash match, bro kick to Riddle, call it a day. That's what I'd like to see. I don't know. I mean, how many times, like, I love watching Sheamus wrestle, but how many times are we going to see the same snug, hard-hitting match? These two guys can go, don't get me wrong, but I don't know. I think if they were to ever to have, like, a under 1 minute squash match, I think this is the one to do it with. I think I am more lenient with Riddle than most. I think some of his stuff is actually kind of funny. The zooms on the scooter, I think, are funny. When he forgot his lines, I thought that was funny. But I don't know. I feel like the crowd would pop. And I have a feeling the crowd is going to be behind Sheamus in this match too, because again, when someone just puts in the good work like that, as like wrestling fans, it's hard not to respect and appreciate them.
Yep.
So I'm going with Sheamus, and I'm, putting a bonus on it. I give this match 2 minutes max.
Wow. It's like Daniel Bryan and Sheamus circa, WrestleMania 27?
Yes,
yeah.
But this is one of the biggest mistakes ever. This will be a crowd popper, not a crowd booer, I think.
Anthony, what do you think?
I'm with Mimi on this one. I think this is a very good opportunity to push Sheamus on a big singles run here with the championship. I don't believe he's held a singles championship since December of 2015. When he cashed in Money in the Bank and on Roman Reigns at Survivor Series. So I think he is long overdue. Like I said earlier in the show, maybe no longer Universal or WWE Championship. But I think the U.S. title is the perfect championship for Sheamus to have a big, long, lengthy reign as, similar to what Lashley did. Kind of use him to like elevate that championship, go up against like the guys in the mid-card. And you know what? Riddle, I'm not going to lie, he's grown on me. Like Mimi said, I do find him kind of funny. But at the same time, do I want someone who's funny beating Sheamus? I think Sheamus is still a fringe main eventer. So yeah, I'm really looking forward for Sheamus to win this match. I'm acting like it's sealed and delivered already. But no, my pick is Sheamus because I really think he deserves one last championship run.
That's the thing, right? Like Riddle as United States champion. First of all, that wasn't even supposed to happen. If Keith Lee was in that triple threat match, that would have been Keith Lee here in this position, which would have been a much more difficult match to call. But Riddle and Sheamus, we know what match we're going to get. First of all, the actual match itself, hard hitting. Guys are going to be bruised and battered. Both of those guys they just lay their stuff in. Both are legitimate badass guys. As goofy as Riddle is, and as much as I can't really stand his personality, you guys don't seem to be as off-put as I am by him. I respect him 100% of the ring. Sheamus has really just been a delight to watch, really overachieving in my eyes from when he returned to what he's contributed to this point. He has really been a unsung hero in WWE over the last how many months now. He's really been great. And I'm not a big Sheamus fan, but he's starting to grow on me as Riddle's growing on you. Not in a way that I would cheer for him, but in a way that I respect him as a heel where, yeah, I'd boo the guy. Like, I want to see somebody beat his ass. Like, and that's the best compliment I can give somebody that's a heel. I actually care about what Sheamus is doing. And, to me, it started in the bar fight with Jeff Hardy. And to me, that wasn't the best thing over the summer. And since then, he's kind of found an upswing after just pounding Jeff Hardy with "you're an alcoholic" and making fun of his alcoholism. Like that was, and his drug addictions. Like that was the whole premise of that storyline, which was really controversial and I have issues with. And then ever since then, it's been uphill for Sheamus. And the deal with Drew McIntyre was really good. His promos are always just good. He is just consistent. That is what Sheamus is. He's consistently good. He's never great where he's jaw dropping and he gives you chills, but he's always just good to very good all the time with everything he does. He's not really great and legendary at any one thing. He's just a very polished performer as a whole. And so I believe my pick is, long way around of saying, I think Sheamus wins this. I think Riddle is not ready for a United States Championship run. He's carrying around his shoulder like a toga or some kind of trophy. I'm not a fan of his character. His character makes me want to poke my eyes out. But Sheamus, again, I think is deserving of this. I think the fans are going to be behind Sheamus on this. But I expect a bust-ass match between these two. This could also be a sleeper that people aren't really thinking about as far as a contender for, quote, match of the night. So what do you guys think? Any other thoughts before we move on here?
I'd like to see Sheamus and Cesaro team back up again. Like you said, you were talking about how he's just good all the time. I was thinking like exactly how kind of Anthony described Cesaro. If Sheamus loses, if they make that decision, which again I don't put it past them because I think Vince McMahon loves Riddle, Matt Riddle, whatever we're calling him here. Yeah, I would. That would be my. They're not going to do it, right? Because it's a good decision, I think. But I would love to see Sheamus and Cesaro team back up because they could actually be interesting in a tag team division that is non-existent. And Vince McMahon doesn't care about either of them anyways. So put him over there where he doesn't care about that either. I think they'd be great again. So that's the only upside I could see to Sheamus losing. But again, I don't think any of that's going to happen.
Yeah, I think that they're going to pull the trigger on this because I don't think that they're astronomically high, no pun intended, on Matt Riddle. But
I see what you did there. Very clever. Yes.
You see, that's the benefits of living in Canada. But no, like in all seriousness, getting back on track. Now I'm confused as where we're going. No, I'm just kidding. No, I just think that Sheamus is going to get the win here. I think WWE knows that Sheamus is still a valuable competitor on their roster. And I think there's just so many benefits to him going on a lengthy reign with the U.S. Championship for them to pass up.
And I think Riddle has been the victim of maybe one time Vince McMahon saw Matt Riddle, do something funny backstage. And I would really caution, and I've never been in WWE backstage. Of course, this is just a fan's outside perspective. But it seems when Vince McMahon sees any kind of comedy in anyone that he goes, oh, you're a comedy guy now, pal. And he just takes them, and then they're defined with just that. They become very one-dimensional with comedy. Otis is a good example. We have Matt Riddle now. The others, of course, that it can't come to my mind, but it seems when Vince sees any kind of comedy that he finds maybe funny backstage we don't see or comes across on air inadvertently, he just takes it and runs with it. So I would really caution anybody in WWE, if you don't want to be a comedy character, do not try to make Vince McMahon laugh because he will take that and he will run with it and you will now be defined by comedy instead of being taken seriously. So it just seems that way. I may be completely wrong, but it just seems that that's the case. So, okay, let's get to something, I guess, more serious, although there's a kind of a weird element to this. Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn with Logan Paul. Now, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Logan Paul. I actually knew who he was. I don't watch his YouTube videos. I know about him. I know his brother, Jake Paul. I know Logan Paul obviously is into boxing, and he's really athletic, and I used to watch him on Vine before there was TikTok. I know who the guy is. I mean, he's a very, very well-known social media personality, so I know who he is. I think he is less arrogant, at least on screen, than Bad Bunny. I mean, I would choose Logan Paul all day over Bad Bunny, but here's another example of bringing in a celebrity that you can almost guarantee is going to not take a bump. And I think so I'll give my prediction first, and then I'll toss it to Mimi after this. We know this match is going to be really good on paper. We've seen these two face one another a lot, especially if you watch NXT. They had a big program in NXT. We know that they are very good together. They're best friends. We know what kind of quality of match you're getting. Even though, if you remember, several years ago, they actually said the final match between these two, I forget what pay-per-view it was, but they had a long-standing series, and then they said this is the last one ever. And, I guess, again, we're not supposed to remember that stuff as fans, but here we are. I'm not complaining because we know what kind of match we're getting. It's going to be really good here. I think Kevin Owens wins, and I also think it's Logan Paul turning on Sami Zayn, because we can't have a heel celebrity, so it's going to be Logan Paul turning on Sami Zayn to further the conspiracy theory against him. And hopefully maybe at the end of this, Logan Paul also eats a stunner. But Kevin Owens comes out on top with Logan Paul turning on Sami Zayn. Mimi, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm fairly familiar with Logan Paul. Again, I think it's one of those things I probably should be more familiar, but I'm with you. I remember Vine the best, but I'm gonna expose myself here, I guess, for purposes of analysis. But as like a former fangirl, we can call it, of whatever celebrity back in the day, right? We're talking like 12, 13 years old. I know the dedication behind a fan base of someone like a Logan Paul. I guarantee that he draws eyes in the product. I know you, like Matt, you said, who's going to buy a Peacock subscription for a Bad Bunny or whatever. My 12, 13-year-old self would have bought one if I was a fan of Logan Paul, you know. So I could see him really drawing eyes. I would be more inclined to think he would take a bump more than other wrestlers. I think he's going to take a stunner. I think he's got a reputation of not a good one and a more of a reformed reputation from what I hear. I think he's kind of matured. And so I think he's the kind of guy who'd say, yeah, half the world hates me, or 75% of the world hates me. Give me a stunner. Like that'll be fine. Whatever. I think that would be a big pop. But I disagree. I'm going with Sami Zayn here solely for the purpose of that. I think Kevin Owens came out on top in most of their matches, if I remember correctly. And I think Sami Zayn's just been so incredible. He deserves a win here. Again, I don't think that's normally what ends up happening. But I think if he does win, it's not necessarily a clean victory. I don't think it's necessarily involvement of Logan Paul, maybe an inadvertent distraction. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I could see Sami Zayn winning because can you imagine – he'd be talking about it until next year's WrestleMania, about how he deserves whatever he won at the grandest stage of them all, yada, yada, yada. Just, I think he'd be able to twist it and further promote his conspiracy theory, even with a win. So that's my pick. What about you, Anthony?
I always love seeing these two guys go at it because, like, they're from Montreal. I'm from Montreal. There's actually a mutual friend that I have that grew up with them for a bit when they were still amateurs. And, like, I love when they come back to Montreal and they start speaking French. But, like, I guess that's why I could kind of, like, get by the whole fact that they were billed as going at it for one last time ever. I want to say it was Battleground 2016, and I kind of wish like we had that type of build to this match because this is almost more of a comedic match when based on their backstories both together and individual and where they came from, it could have been billed as so much more and such a more serious bout when in reality it's kind of just almost like a gimmick match with Logan Paul there. I don't know much about Logan Paul like at all. Like, when they brought it up, it was my girlfriend who was just like, oh, it's the YouTube guy. And I was just like, oh, okay. But, look, I think that this is a can't-miss match, and it's one of these matches where I'm just going to try and pretend that the build didn't happen and just enjoy the product. I think that Kevin Owens is going to win just because, as of late, he's been billed more as kind of like a main event guy, as Sami Zayn is more of just a comedic act. But that being said, Sami Zayn has never won a WrestleMania match, so I'm going to stick with Kevin Owens, but it's really kind of a toss-up for me.
Yeah, there's a case to be made for Sami, certainly. And you also have to look at the fact, though, that Kevin Owens has lost how many matches in a row to Roman Reigns. And yes, there were some controversial losses there, no doubt. But Kevin Owens is on a bit of a losing streak when it comes to championship matches with Roman. And, Sami Zayn does need to win. He needs a win in the worst way. Sami Zayn, even though he's getting more attention and I love his character, he's actually been defined down in terms of kind of being able to be believed that he could beat somebody without having to cheat to win, which I know he's a heel, but he's kind of a comedic heel. He's not a hated heel. It's weird. Like, I don't want to see Sami Zayn get his ass kicked. Like, I don't feel anger towards his character. I find just entertainment towards his character, which I guess would kind of go against the whole definition of what a heel is. It's kind of ironic, but I also really like his character, and I would go with Kevin Owens. I want Kevin Owens to stun Logan Paul, but I also wouldn't care. I wouldn't be angry if Sami Zayn wins. Like, I would be okay with that. But again, last point though to you, Mimi, where you're saying that people would buy it for Logan Paul. I would agree with you that they would be. It's a much younger generation that I think he is connected to. At the same time, they're probably going to get the free trial and then bail, right? Like most of them are probably going to go, oh, cool. Well, let's get that free trial. Add a new email address. I'll get that free week trial and I'll call it a day. And I get WrestleMania for free. So while they may get more eyeballs on the product and people signing up, I don't think those are going to be translating into paid subscriptions over the long haul. So. All right. So we have 2 for Kevin Owens, 1 for Sami Zayn. Anybody have any final thoughts before we move to the next match?
Yeah, I just want to say I agree with you, Matt. I mean, why would they stay?
Yeah.
That's
the whole point. Yeah.
What's good about this show? You know what I mean? That would be like, oh, I want to stay for that. Like, I think again, maybe this will be my last AEW reference, but when they had Shaq, right, the match right after was essentially just a squash match for Pac, who was Neville in WWE, and the best wrestler in the world, in my opinion, right now is Rey Fenix. It was just them doing cool flips and dives and stuff right afterwards. Perfect. Makes sense. You get all these casual fans, and then, oh, by the way, this is what happens every week. You want to see this. You have, this go on, and then maybe, I don't know, whatever is next, the women's tag team championship match or whatever. I'm not going to, if I wasn't a WWE fan since birth, I'm not sticking around to continue to watch the crap that is 2021 WWE.
All right. Well, women, did you say something, Anthony? No. Okay. Women's Tag Team Championship. I thought I heard something. It could have just been my stomach. I didn't eat. Women's Tag Team Championship. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler versus our team that we chose. So here's my pick. I mean, I honestly don't think it matters who the hell is on the other side of the ring with Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. I think the fact of the matter is that this team is going to be dissolved at WrestleMania and beyond. And I think that's going to be the best thing ever for specifically Shayna Baszler, who I want to go back to just breaking people's arms. Like, I want Shayna Baszler, as she did to, I don't know her name, I think she was a NXT trainee, and she also did it to Sarah Logan. I want her to just start snapping people's arms. I loved that version of Shayna Baszler. Now, she can't do that every week. She won't have anyone to wrestle. But I want her mission to be to just hurt people, to try to injure people. I loved that Shayna. And then she found Nia. And it hasn't been the worst thing ever. But it's time for these two to separate. And that means, again, to my point, I think Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, whoever's on the opposing side, they're dropping the belts to that said team. So in this case, and who my pick is, I think that the Riot Squad not only win the number one contendership to face Nia Jax and Shayna, but they also win it. Anthony, what do you think about that? Do you think there's any chance that Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler retain?
I don't think so. I think you have to break them up because, like you said, especially now that Charlotte's been out and Bayley's kind of missing in action, and Becky Lynch has been gone for a year. Lacey Evans is gone, although she's not in the same class as the other ones I just mentioned. I think you kind of need Shayna Baszler back in the women's division as a single star. So my pick was Lana and Naomi, and I think they will win the tag team championships. And you know what? I've liked Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax for the most part. I think that they were the first team that really legitimized the division. They felt like an actual dominant tag team. I felt that the tag team titles have always been relevant on them. So that's the only thing that I am kind of bummed when they will break them up, which I assume is on the horizon here. But yeah, it is time, and more so just because you got to get Shayna Baszler back as a singles competitor.
Mimi?
Yeah, I think I'm calling an audible, guys, and I'm going to will it into existence. I'm changing my pick from Natalya and Tamina. I'm just going with the Iconics. They're not on the card. They're not announced. It's probably not going to happen, but I want the Iconics to win that match and then win against, in their typical Iconic way, win against Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax the next night. I think I'm with you guys. I think these guys break up, whatever, maybe, probably, considering WWE's booking. I guarantee we'll see Reginald cost something. I'd love to see Shayna Baszler just murk Reginald. That would be great. That would be the greatest pop of WrestleMania, I think. And then, yeah, Matt, I'm with you. I want Shayna Baszler back to NXT Shayna Baszler. Like, whatever happened, I don't remember their names, but she had Goonies for a while, too. Give me Elimination Chamber Shayna Baszler back. I don't know how they get there. I assume she's got to go away for a while and then come back and, rediscover that fire. It's not her fault whatsoever, but She's out there calling herself the most dominant, or they're the most dominant team, when 5 minutes ago she got pinned by Naomi in less than 2 minutes in a match, and then rolled up by Natalia the next week. This whole thing is not even 50-50 booking. It's just terrible booking, and I want to see Shayna Baszler get her just due, but I doubt she will, because she looks different. She is different, and she's not main roster women's division, and I think in Vince McMahon's eyes. So, I mean, if she was, she probably would have beat Becky Lynch last year. But yeah, I'm calling the Iconics, I guess, to sum that all up.
I hope you're right. God, I love the Iconics. I really was. It was probably based on everything I've heard from most fans. I mean, everyone's just like, why did they break them up again? I mean, yes, Billy Kay's been somewhat entertaining, but you have the other side of it, and no, not Billy Kay, but Peyton Royce. I couldn't think of her name. She has been going to just team to trying to find a partner. I'm like, well, she had one. Why are we trying to put her back in a tag team? It's been the most backwards way to break up a team for really no purpose, no net gain. It's been bizarre. So I hope you're right. God, I hope you're right. Okay, let's get to the Intercontinental Championship. We haven't talked at all about this. Big E and Apollo Crews. This is also one that is very difficult and a case to be made for both sides of the coin. But I'm going to flip it back to you, Mimi. Who wins this match?
Again, this is one of those cases where it's like, okay, logic would say Apollo Crews, but logic doesn't usually happen a lot of the time. So I don't know. I'm going with Apollo Crews, though, just because I think if they don't, then Apollo Crews will go back into obscurity. I think when you make such a big character change and heel turn and all this stuff, you can't fall short, or else you become Baron Corbin and you have no credibility. And I think Apollo Crews has done awesome with this character that he's playing now, because I think we've heard that he wants to be this. Like, this is more of his idea. He's done something like this on the indies. So I'm going with Apollo Crews. I'm more curious to hear what you guys think. What the heck is a Nigerian drum match? Something like that. All I can think about is a really awesome entrance for Apollo Crews, and someone's head is going through like a snare drum. That's it. But I'm going with Apollo Crews.
Anthony, what do you think? And what the hell is a Nigerian drum? Like, what is that? I've never heard of that stipulation. I know. I'm glad you brought it up, but I just don't know what it is.
I don't even I heard him say that. I'm just like, no, I must have misheard. And then literally the graphic comes up and it's just like Nigerian drum fight. I'm just like, okay. I don't know if it's just gonna be like you can only hit the other guy with bongos or bass drums. I don't know what it's gonna be. But all joking aside, I mean, this is one of the few matches where the build has been excellent, I think. I think that Apollo Crews has knocked it out of the park, and he's completely made me not care that he just adopted an accent out of nowhere. It's made him very relevant. I think his entrance is cool. I'm scared that they're going to give Big E the win, because I think they still do view Big E as the bigger star in the long term, and I don't believe Big E has ever had a single victory at a WrestleMania. So I'm gonna this is another one that's tough for all the good reasons, because I don't think that there's necessarily a wrong answer, but I think Big E's gonna win this match, and then Apollo Crews will get the championship victory at another match down the line. But for this match, I'm going with Big E.
My heart and my brain are now also conflicted on this one. This is, out of the entire WrestleMania 37 card, this is, to me, the hardest one to predict. Because there's such a good case to be made for both. And it comes down to what's the right thing versus what do we want. And what do I want? I want Apollo Crews to win this. I mean, to me, it's not even a thought. Like, I would have Apollo Crews win this flat out, hands down, no problem. But WWE, as you said, Anthony, probably views Big E as a, quote, bigger asset moving forward. Maybe. I mean, Apollo Crews, the thing is, Apollo Crews, as much as, I mean, I love his character, I think he's been a really an excellent transition into his new character. He immediately made you care about his character in really one segment doing what he did, changing his character, than he has done in like 6 years of being the smiling, athletic guy that is great in the ring. I mean, he made you care instantly after all the 6 years of really obscurity. And now you have Big E, though, who has had the Intercontinental Championship for a significant amount of time, and he has not yet had a big win on a big stage yet. And do they want to have Big E get that win? Or do they want Apollo Crews to take the championship after Big E's had it for, again, a significant amount of time and crown him the new Intercontinental Champion via, some kind of hook or crook? Damn, this is tough. I'm going to go with what I want, which is probably not right, but I'll do it anyway. I'm going to go with Apollo Crews winning this. And the reason is that I think that Big E has been champion long enough that people are looking at him as a guy that could possibly go to the next level, right? I mean, look what happened with Lashley losing the United States Championship and then immediately getting interjected into the WWE Championship. So just because he loses doesn't mean that it's a downgrade. It could actually mean an upgrade. It could be actually addition by subtraction, taking the belt off him so that it relieves his duties as Intercontinental Champion and he can move up to that next level of the Universal Championship in his case. And we'll get there. So I'm looking forward to this match. I don't know why there needs to be this stipulation of a Nigerian drum. I'm thinking of the Symphony of Destruction matches that WWE has at times. And I hope it's not done hokey. Like you said, maybe it's just an entrance. I hope he has like a full Nigerian sponsored entrance, whatever that may be or look like. I think that could be awesome, coming out and wearing like garments and wearing like family tribunes and wearing like all these things that are native to Nigeria and to his family. Like I could see Apollo Crews coming out in just the most arrogant way, flashing all of these things from his family and all the things he's proud of. That would be awesome. I would love that. I think his entrance is going to be really fun to watch while Big E stands there and, I don't know, takes his weightlifting chalk and claps his hands and, goes down to the ring. I hope Apollo Crews wins. Any thoughts?
No, I think
it's going to be hokey.
Probably.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. The match quality, too, I think is going to be hopefully better than their last kind of like really botchamania. It was not good with their last match, so I think they'll clean things up this time around. All right, let's move on here. And let's see. Oh, boy. Okay, we're getting serious now into the final three matches. The Fiend, Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton in a straight-up match, it looks like, which to me was the weirdest part about this. And maybe there was nowhere to go, and WWE recognized that there's not another level above an Inferno match outside of like a Hell in a Cell on Fire match. I mean, once you start combining stipulations maybe, but they just went with The Fiend versus Randy Orton. They didn't put a stipulation on it. I thought they should have at least done just no DQ. Keep it no DQ, because then you can do anything under the no DQ umbrella, right? If you just keep it a straight up wrestling match, which is how it's presented right now, number one, that doesn't make sense because The Fiend can't be beat. If he can't be beat by being burned alive, I don't think there's a wrestling move in this world that could beat him. His whole character is about being no selling. His whole character is about no selling, which reaches a point of, I mean, as much as we all love The Fiend, and I love his new burned skin look, we all agree on that. I hope his costume doesn't fall off in the middle of it. I hope it's, wrestling ready. But I'm concerned about The Fiend reaching a point where people just go, okay, we know you're about no selling, but can we just tone it back a bit? Like, The Undertaker no-sold, Kane no-sold at times, but it was when it was the right time to do it. It wasn't the entire match. And I'm worried that The Fiend is going to no-sell everything, and that's what bothers me. But I'll wait for my pick. Anthony, you go first on this one.
I actually kind of think this may be a squash match for The Fiend. That's not what I want to see, but I think they've almost booked themselves into a corner here where how could we expect this to be like a toe-to-toe bout between the two when one of them literally can't be killed via being set on fire? So I'm actually expecting the Fiend to kind of squash Randy Orton in under 2 or 3 minutes, and then for Randy Orton to go on a hiatus for quite a few months here. I think he's been on one hell of a run for the past 15 months or so, ever since the Royal Rumble of last year when he turned heel the night after against Edge. And I think this is going to be a way to kind of write Randy Orton off of television for a bit. But yeah, I'm expecting a Fiend decisive victory here.
Maybe.
I think that this match is going to be an exact replica of WrestleMania 33. I'm talking about projection of the worms and all. I think it is going to be just as bad.
No.
If they do a regular wrestling match, which it sounds like, again, I don't think that's what they're going to do. I think there's going to be some hokey pokiness to this. I think this has been a feud where I turn my, kind of like you guys were saying, like you just try not to think about the build. I just try not to think about anything with this and enjoy it for what it is. And it's not pro wrestling, but whatever. Who's to say what that is, I guess now. So yeah, I have no idea how this is going to go. I have a feeling it goes cinematic, and I think the only way that they can do that is to do a thing where they go cinematic, or maybe they do partially in person, partially cinematic, kind of like what John Cena did, where he came out and did his whole entrance and then went back, and they set up the ring for the steel cage match or something in the meanwhile, so at least you have an excuse. And yeah, I mean, give me a Firefly Funhouse match. I know, like I went back and watched the John Cena one again, and it's not a match. Let's make that clear. It's a production, but the man murdered the other man with fire. Like we're not at like a wrestling, like what's Randy Orton going to do? Like the deadly stomp or the backbreaker? I don't. I'm with Anthony though. I think it's some kind of Firefly Funhouse match. Looking through Randy Orton's career, I think he's matured a lot, right? We saw from the Stone Cold podcast. I think he's matured a lot and realizes he was kind of a jerk, to put it lightly, and PG for this show back in the day. And that they're going to go through all that stuff and kind of, I don't know, maybe it becomes this thing where you can say, yeah, Randy Orton's way of saying I was kind of a jerk, and I acknowledge that, but I've grown up and I'm not as much of a jerk anymore. And then we don't see him for a little while.
That's probably the case, especially we had Alexa Bliss come out and say that the Legend Killer will die at WrestleMania. Like it's almost never that you hear about death, like somebody threatening to kill somebody else. That's just a place you never go. You don't go there because you know you can't deliver on it, and it's a PG product. You just don't go there. You can't say you're gonna kill your opponent. But I'm thinking metaphorically that's what Alexa Bliss meant, that the character of the Legend Killer, that part of Randy, will die. So not necessarily that the Fiend's going to actually kill him. I mean, I guess that's how you explain it. But when she said that, I'm like, wow, you just don't say that. I mean, like that was just very striking to me. As far as the match goes, look, we all believe Bray Wyatt's going to win. Bray Wyatt wins, running away. There's not even a second thought that Bray Wyatt wins this. You talk about a slam dunk. This is probably the biggest slam dunk of the entire card, that Bray Wyatt wins. It's about the journey, though, here. And I'm concerned, though, for the fans. I feel for the fans if they do any cinematic component to this, because the fans aren't spending thousands of dollars, taking time off work, everything they got to deal with, the stress, the protocols, all the restrictions in the arena, to sit there and go, wow, I could have effing been in my couch sitting here watching this. Why am I here watching this screen when I could be on my couch? So if they do a cinematic element to this, it better be brief and it better be meaningful, or the crowd is going to lose their minds, and rightfully so, if they do any cinematic element to this beyond like 5% of the match. So I don't even know what this is going to be, but it does have to be some kind of hocus pocus. A lot of no selling from the Fiend, but ultimately he does something that we're going to be maybe jaw dropped about. That Randy Orton looks like he may have actually been killed. Maybe he gets set on fire. Maybe he drags him down to hell. I don't know. But the Fiend wins this going away, and if it's a squash, I hope not for Randy Orton's sake, given all the good he's done. But I understand it for the Fiend and his return and all the build that's been done to this. So the Fiend wins, no question about it. Any wrap up for that?
I was going to ask you guys, do you think they have any you said the Legend Killer will die. Do you think they have some kind of appearances, whether it's, again, pre-tape cinematic stuff or in person of any legends, or talking like Mick Foley, anybody like that's synonymous with the Legend Killer gimmick?
I would not be shocked if it's something along the lines of what we saw with Cena last year. Because, like, honestly, like, it wasn't a match. I don't even know what you could classify that was, but the psychology behind it was brilliant. It really was brilliantly scripted out. Again, wasn't a wrestling match, but it really kind of made you think. And I found it cool because WWE kind of acknowledged what we were all thinking. So they were just like, look, we get it. So we'll kind of throw you a bone by acknowledging it. So if they did something similar with Orton, I guess it would make sense. It's just I can't get behind that kind of match or that kind of presentation, however you want to phrase it. But no, I wouldn't put it past WWE at all.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. I just, I feel like, and I hope that when COVID goes away, cinematic goes away. I think that WWE has been able to play God with the reactions, play God with how they want to present matches, and do what they've always wanted to do, and not be a wrestling company, but be an entertainment company and produce cinematic spectacles that are not wrestling. They're like movies. I mean, that's essentially what they've done and been able to do over the last year, although as of late they haven't done a ton of it. So, all right. Well, let's see how many. I think we only have 2 left, I believe. And yeah, so 2 left. Raw Women's Championship. Asuka versus Rhea Ripley. Mimi, who wins this?
I feel so bad for Asuka in this, but I have to say Rhea Ripley, I think, again, of no fault of Asuka's own, all booking's fault. Because again, if you've seen Asuka in NXT, you know what a beast she is. But I think Rhea Ripley wins, and it's more of a, hopefully, the significance of it is that we're gonna retry with this women's division, especially on Raw. And you got all these new matchups, hopefully, with Rhea Ripley. I think she's incredible. I thought she was incredible last year. I think she should have gone over Charlotte Flair last year. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Rhea Ripley on this one. And again, I feel for Asuka. I worry for what's next for Asuka. I have a feeling she probably sinks into the tag team division, and maybe they put her with someone, Io Shirai, because that's what WWE does, or whoever. But yeah, I think this would be. I don't want to call it a big mistake to have Asuka go over, but you can't have Rhea lose these 2 matches in a row at WrestleMania that, you've got she's supposedly the up-and-comer, and she gets beat twice on the grandest stage of them all. I just think that's a no-no.
Anthony?
I think it's the easiest match on the card to predict, to be quite honest, for all the reasons that Mimi just laid out. Like, again, I feel bad for Asuka, but she's just kind of become the face of one of the most bland runs in the women's division for a long time on Monday Night Raw. And she's at the forefront of that. It's not her fault, but I mean, I do think the character, like, there's only so much you can do with it because of the language barrier. And when she kind of just starts screaming and jumping around, like, it goes from comedic to annoying real quick, at least from my point of view. And it's just gotten a bit stale. And then you have Rhea Ripley come out, a fresh face, clearly one of the future stars of that division, along with Bianca Belair, in my opinion. I think it's just a slam dunk for Rhea Ripley to win. Again, another instance where I'm going to take away the fact that Rhea Ripley literally just walked to the ring and her first night on the main roster declared herself the #1 contender. Never understood that. Really bothers me. It was kind of like last year, the night after Goldberg beat Bray Wyatt for the Universal Championship, and he just like turned and like faced the entrance, and like Roman Reigns' music hit, and it was just decided right there and then that they were facing each other for the Universal Championship. It felt very much like that when Rhea Ripley just showed up on Raw. But aside from that, I'm looking forward to it, and I think Rhea Ripley has this in the bag.
Yep. So, okay, first of all, yes. So we're 3 for 3. Anybody that chooses Asuka is just trying to go against the grain to try to be different. I mean, there's there's really no good logic behind Asuka retaining. I really don't believe there is. Like you said, you talk about a bland, forgettable run, and we're saying that about Asuka. I mean, and really, I can't fault Asuka. Look, she had her teeth knocked out, one of her tooth knocked out by Shayna Baszler. Kicked her right in the face. We all saw the replay. How many times her tooth, got like knocked out of her head. That was rough, and it took her 3 weeks to recover, dental surgery, all that. We understand that, and I get that. At the same time, there's no excuse for how many months, 5-6 months, WWE did not put the Raw Women's Championship up for defense on a pay-per-view. Like, that's inexcusable by WWE. There's no good reason for it. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Even if they said to me, there's no opponents for her. I mean, who's she going to face? That's not the point. The point is not to look around and go, who is credible? The point is to who can we bring up? Like, who can we elevate? And they chose to elevate exactly 0 women against Asuka. She faced Lana because, that's her claim to fame, is she defended it against Lana the last time. There's no good reason for what they did with Asuka in her run. It's inexcusable for 6 months to basically sweep it under the rug and pretend that the women don't have a championship on Raw. I felt for Asuka big time, and I just don't see any excuse for what they did. Now, again, as you said, Anthony, when Rio just comes out and declares it, I mean, I don't understand how these things happen, right? Like, I would at least like some kind of logic other than, hey, it's my first night here, I want a championship match. And if she said that, that's fine, but at least earn it, right? The fact that nobody came out and had a problem with that, nobody said anything. No one said, hey, whoa, this is your first night here. You're at the back of the line. Nobody said boo about it. This is the spot that we're all supposed to believe is the reason that you're here. You want a main event WrestleMania. You want to be in a championship match. And yet all you have to do is apparently just go out and declare it and you're in. I just never understand that logic at all, that no one even had an issue with it at all. That said, I think we're going to be in for a great match here. We all know the ability of Asuka. We all know the ability of Rhea Ripley. I think Rhea Ripley is even better than she was character-wise and in-ring than she was last year. She's clearly the future of the women's division. And if they don't have Rhea Ripley win here, I think you're going to have, half a riot on your hands in the stadium, and really on Twitter. Twitter's going to explode. I mean, Twitter would melt down. And it would be, it'd be fun to watch. But it'd be also maddening of WWE's logic here. They really don't have a choice here, but I think give it to Rhea Ripley. Yes, they're trying to position her as a heel. I know that she attacked Asuka this past week on Monday Night Raw, but I don't want to hear it. There's nothing they could do that's going to get Rhea Ripley hated in front of the live audience tomorrow night, or Sunday night rather, as she's on night 2. So this is a match I'm looking forward to. Rhea Ripley wins the championship, and the fans are going to be 100% behind this. They can try to position Asuka all day as the babyface. It's not going to happen. Rhea Ripley wins. Any follow-up?
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I think Anthony pointed it out too. This makes the Royal Rumble mean nothing, no? Because the runner-up, Rhea Ripley lost the Royal Rumble, yet she's still getting a title shot at WrestleMania. I think it's it shows the problem of so many things, too many titles, right? Like you said, there's absolutely no build to this match. Again, this was supposed to be Lacey Evans versus Charlotte Flair, so I'll take it any day of the week. But like you said, Matt, nobody said anything. The only person who said anything was Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax a week or two later, and that didn't even lead to a number one contendership, anything. Maybe having Rhea Ripley dominate the show. Oh yeah, by the way, I deserve this. No, just can they get along? Tag team storyline crap.
Mm-hmm. Could I throw one thing in about the Royal Rumble thing that you just pointed out? About the runner-ups just getting main event matches anyway? WWE actually has a history of doing that. Look back at 2005. Batista wins the Royal Rumble. The runner-up is Cena. Cena main events the SmackDown card. And then the very next year, 2006, Mysterio wins the Royal Rumble, and he eliminates Orton and Triple H last. Orton went into the same match with Mysterio to main event the SmackDown side of things with Kurt Angle, and Triple H main evented the show in total with John Cena. The year after that, The Undertaker wins the Royal Rumble, goes up against Batista at like 9 o'clock at WrestleMania 23, and the runner-up to the Royal Rumble is Shawn Michaels, who main events the entire show with Cena. So it's not the first time WWE does
Charlotte. Like Charlotte lost.
Yep.
She runner up, and what? Yeah. So there is a long. Yeah, that is very true. So that's why when you look at the Royal Rumble winners, guy, I mean, like you always have to go and to say, okay, yeah, this person won, but that's only one side of the story. You've only got one championship that you can challenge for on your brand or the opposite brand, and yet there is that other side, and it typically is the runner up. Yeah. Yep.
And no women's elimination chamber match this year either. Just makes no sense, but whatever. We're here now.
And they had the women's while we're on the Royal Rumble match for the women. As much as I enjoyed the ending, the fact that they had to fill the majority of the women's spots with legends tells you that the depth of the women's division needs to be addressed quickly. I mean, and they took like NXT completely out of the equation. So, all right, let's move on here. Main event. Royal Rumble Universal Championship, Roman Reigns versus Edge versus Daniel Bryan. Now, again, we have not seen SmackDown, at least. I mean, if you have read it, I don't want to know, but that is the championship match. I have no reason to believe that that's not the championship match, that there's not going to be any final edits or anything like that. My thought is this week on SmackDown that Roman Reigns probably does what Edge and Daniel Bryan have done over the last couple weeks and dominate. I think you had Edge snap 2 weeks ago. You had Daniel Bryan snap this past week on SmackDown. And I think Roman Reigns, if you follow WWE's sometimes very predictable logic, Roman Reigns is going to be the one who stands tall and holding the championship as SmackDown goes off the air. That's my guess. I have not seen a thing. So I'll pause on this. Mimi, I'll let you take the main event first. Who wins this? This is also not easy. So go ahead.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think that this, I could venture to say that this is maybe Randy Orton the Fiend, but again, that's not wrestling. So this is the only match on both nights that has again, I think this all fell into their lap. I'm going to be 100% honest. I doubt this was the plan just from, past experience, but I think this is the only with the WWE curve, well-booked match on this entire card for both nights. And so with that, I'm excited for it. I'm excited about it. I think Roman Reigns takes this, and Edge and Daniel Bryan go on to have a feud afterwards. Something happens in the match where Edge and Daniel Bryan, one of them screws the other or something, and then you got something from there. Again, that's the logical choice, I think, because Roman Reigns has been awesome. The best thing about WWE in a long time. I hate him. I absolutely hate him. And I've said this before too, like a casual fan, I always use my fiance too. When she watches this, she gets mad at the TV whenever Roman Reigns comes out. So what he's doing is working, not just for the hardcore fan, but for a casual fan too. And so I think Roman Reigns takes this. Hopefully Edge and Daniel Bryan have their own feud afterwards. And hopefully there's some logic here because, I don't know. I don't care about going home with a smile on my face. I'd rather be angry and wanting to tune into SmackDown to see what's next.
Anthony, your pick.
Yeah, Mimi kind of took the words right out of my mouth. I'll preface this by saying I think that, again, to Mimi's point, the way they built this was brilliant. It felt very organic. They did it they did long-term booking here. I like the dynamic between Edge and Daniel Bryan, how it went from, like mutual respect to mutual just hating each other. And then you add in Roman Reigns element into all this. I feel like the way they've built this is very similar to how they did Triple H, HBK, and Benoit back in 2004. And I think Daniel Bryan being put in here kind of will be able to protect Roman Reigns or Edge, depending which way you go for it, because I really don't see a way that Daniel Bryan can come out as champion. The only two guy options here are Roman Reigns or Edge, but I'm going with Roman Reigns. I think there's still a lot of juice to be squeezed out of this title run, and that's crazy to say given how much good he's already done with this. but I just don't think Edge is the guy. Maybe down the road, maybe he gets a win at SummerSlam or something, but right now I don't think it's the Edge is the guy. He's not the right guy at the right time, to take the words from Paul Heyman. And I think, to Mimi's point, she really just mapped it out for me. I think that they could do an Edge Daniel Bryan feud on the side. So yeah, I'm going with Roman Reigns here.
Man, you guys are killing me. And I mean that in a good way, because I have my pick and it's not your pick, but you're convincing me otherwise. So I'm going to stand by my guns. Even though you guys have a compelling case. I think Edge wins. Not that I want Edge to win. And this is what's so weird about this match. And I don't mean this in a bad way at all. Like, I love almost everything about this match. I've loved the build for the most part, with some weird exceptions. This has been about as good of a build as you can imagine, this being on paper and in execution. I think it's one of the few that you'd go, yeah, this is WrestleMania worthy. This feels like a WrestleMania match. It's at fever pitch. Like, this is one that you're like, okay, yeah, this definitely deserves to end the show on night 2. No questions about it. No other match even comes close to this as far as build and everything else. All the characters, everything has been really, really good. So here's my pick. Edge wins, and not because I really want him to. And this is where it gets weird. Roman Reigns is a guy that before the heel turn, you would just look at the year coming up and you'd go, can we just get to Mania? Because we know it's going to be all roads lead to Roman, and Roman's going to eventually win the championship. He's just going to beat Brock or beat Triple H or whoever he's facing. Can we just get to it and get it over with? And this year we're going, can we extend this with Roman Reigns as champion? We're looking at this and going, this is freaking awesome. And not in a way that he's a heel you would cheer for. See, that's the difference. Like, there's so many people that are, quote, heels that are just cast as heels that are not really heels. Like, you might cheer for them at an event, or you do a sing-along with their character, or you like their entrance music, or whatever. Roman Reigns is genuinely disliked as a heel, and he is a old school heel. He's a heel that comes along once every 10 or 15 years. That's how rare a heel like Roman Reigns is right now. We all knew he could be good. Maybe not even some of us knew he could be this good. But think about this. Again, all these championship runs Roman Reigns has had, and yet we are hoping that Roman Reigns retains because it's been so damn good. And this is against a returning Edge that we all lost our minds for at last year's Royal Rumble. We're rooting against that Edge, a guy that is really good on promos, that has done a very good job getting himself back into shape. And Daniel Bryan, one of the most beloved superstars of all time, extremely likable, really good in the ring, and we're still cheering. We want Roman Reigns to win. But this is the problem that I have, and that's why, again, I want Roman to win. But I think WWE values the smile, going home, not leaving people angry with Edge winning. That's what and they have that nice, I think it's been, exactly 10 years since Edge had to relinquish the championship because of an injury. They like those documentary type of headlines of redemption and the redemption story of Edge, and the fact that he came back after 10 years to the day and he regained what he never lost, right? That's what I think they're going to give, quote, and really pun intended, I guess, the edge to their decision is that whole documentary that they could put together, and the feel good, and the Vince putting a smile in your face at the end of the night, because this is closing the night. Let's not make any mistake about it. I think Daniel's here to take the fall. I think he was inserted here to take the fall one way or the other. And I think Edge does pin Daniel Bryan to win the championship. And it also protects Roman Reigns, because Roman Reigns is not involved in the decision. He can claim that forever. He lost and was never involved. And Roman, with all his quiet anger, can you imagine your thought that what is he going to do on SmackDown? He doesn't have the championship. He's going to lose his... I want to see the angry heel Roman Reigns lose his mind. I mean, there is a case to be made there. However, your case, if I was booking this, Roman Reigns would win. I'm thinking in WWE logic. I'm thinking what they're thinking of, and I think that feel-good story of Edge probably trumps the Roman Reigns run, and Daniel Bryan could be the one to save the face for Roman because he's not involved in the decision, so it doesn't hurt him one bit. So, what are your thoughts, guys?
Yeah, it really is a toss-up between Roman Reigns and Edge. And for all the reasons you outlined, I could just as easily pick Edge. And it probably is the more, I guess, not realistic or more possible. I think that's the better terminology. Because if you are thinking in WWE land, that is what they're going to do. And again, they kind of did it with Chris Benoit all the way back. And I really see a lot of parallels between these two storylines. So yeah, I think it would make a ton of sense. Except one thing I will say, would it not look so much better if they still had the World Heavyweight Championship? So it would be the exact same title that Edge relinquished 10 years ago.
That would, yeah. I mean, of course, that would be very poetic, but yeah, unfortunately, it's not. So, Mimi, what do you think? Is anybody swayed here, or are we all sticking with Roman, and Edge for me?
Yeah, I think I'm sticking with Roman, but I understand your booking. I could see that, again, like I said, logic it very rarely actually happens. I think, though, I don't think people are giving Daniel Bryan a fair shake. I think, like you said, Vince McMahon likes to send people home, with smiles on faces. And so we might feel like the Yes Movement is in 2014, but who knows? I love Anthony's Chris Benoit comparison. I think that's a perfect way to look at this too. So there's that. And then, like you said, the whole Edge thing, I talked about it with Apollo Crews. He's kind of in this tweener part. Can we see, Edge making a character change and then them not following up with it? I don't know. I think if Edge loses this match, though, he should go back to SmackDown and make a tag team with Reginald, and they can be called Reg. And that's my final thought.
Did you? Oh god, that's funny. Yeah, look, it also is interesting, and there is that other angle. Does Daniel Bryan even have a shot? And I think he does have a shot. It's small. It's clearly the smallest of the three. But should we really discount Daniel Bryan to win the championship? I think we shouldn't. Anthony, do you think there's any chance Daniel Bryan wins this?
0%.
Zero. Wow. Okay.
I really, because I think that if fans were around, he would very evidently be the third wheel. In this instance, and again, I know I keep drawing the comparables. My God. Between,
join the club. I know. Yeah.
the triple threat match at WrestleMania 20. But did anyone really think that Shawn Michaels was going to walk away the world champion at that point? I don't know. I think he's literally here because he adds another wrinkle and he kind of bridges the gap to maybe the lack of storytelling that would be done between Edge and Roman Reigns. He kind of just makes everything gel together. I think he will protect the one who doesn't win. I think he's literally just here he's just here as almost like a safety net, much like in the way that Charlotte Flair was there 2 years ago. I really don't see any scenario where he comes out with the championship.
Well, let me ask this, guys. In closing to this match and the pay-per-view, what do you think the crowd reaction is for these individuals? Again, this is the first time that the crowd of 25,000 people, you got to remember the makeup of this crowd again. How are they going to react for the first time ever in person? The Roman Reigns heel character, the Edge babyface character, kind of tweening now, and same with Daniel Bryan. What are you guys' thoughts? Mimi, I'll start with you. How does the crowd react to all three of them? Do you think that they're going to align with how they're booked and how they're cast? Or do you think they'll go with what some of the thinking is? Oh, he's such a great heel that they're going to cheer him now. Do you think any of that's going to happen?
Yeah, I do, and not because he's not, especially Roman Reigns, not because he hasn't been playing a great heel. I honestly think the crowd's going to get behind Daniel Bryan because the nerds, myself included, I'm not a huge Daniel Bryan person now, at least. But the nerds of the wrestling community love Daniel Bryan, and I say that in the most endearing way possible. So I bet there's a lot of yes chance, Daniel Bryan chance. But I think with Roman Reigns specifically, I have no idea about Edge, so I'm just conveniently leaving that out. But I think with Daniel Bryan specifically, or Roman Reigns specifically, I think he gets cheered, if not just terribly booed. It's going to be one or the other. I think he gets cheered in the beginning, and then little by little, as the match goes on, I think all three of these guys are such talented storytellers that I think somehow Roman Reigns makes it so they're booing him by the end of the night. But what do you guys think?
Anthony?
I think Daniel Bryan, it's going to be very lukewarm. Like, you can't boo him. Like, you can never boo Daniel Bryan, but I think it's going to be like, oh, yeah, okay, he's here. I think Edge, they'll go ballistic because I still think people haven't fully scratched that itch of going ballistic for Edge upon his return because of when COVID hit. And Roman Reigns, I think they're going to give WWE the reaction they want. I think people have been wanting to boo this guy for almost a decade now, and they're just going to rain them down on Roman Reigns when he finally comes out, because now it's the perfect storm. He's supposed to be booed. He will get booed. He plays the heel role perfectly. I think aside from the fact that I'm expecting somewhat of a lukewarm reaction for Daniel Bryan, I think WWE is going to get what they want.
I hope so. I hope the fans are smart enough to realize that if they cheer him because he's doing such a good job as a heel, that's going to de-incentivize WWE from trying to turn anyone heel again that we want as a heel. Because then we just keep playing games, and I hope that that's not the case. We need to respect their decision to finally turn Roman heel and recognize that he's doing such a good job that we're not going to cheer him as irony, that we're actually we're gonna give that character the desired reaction because it's deserving of that desired reaction. So I hope that people aren't trying to be rebellious just to be rebellious and be cool, which I hope that they won't. I don't believe they will, and they'll give Roman the desired reaction. So, all right, well, guys, this has been awesome. I want to just toss it to Anthony first. If there's any other closing arguments, I feel like we're in like a trial. Is there any other closing comments or questions or anything that you want to talk about before we close things out?
No, I'll just say that, kind of echo what I said to start the show, is that the builds may not have been good to a lot of these matches, or the vast majority of these matches, but I still think, given the talent on the card and some of the matches here, that it will ultimately be a better show than most may be expecting.
Mimi.
Yeah, I think I agree with Anthony there. I want to make it clear, as excited as we can be about WrestleMania, I don't know about you guys. I'm more excited, I think, just for the spectacle of it all. I think this has been super lazy booking. I think most of this has been last minute. I think this could have been way better than it's going to be, just like, again, because it's not necessarily always about the wrestling. It's about the anticipation of the actual matches. And I feel like we've seen half the matches already, or some version of them. But yeah, I mean, the wrestlers, especially in WWE, the most talented wrestlers in the world, they always pull off, like, usually Raw and SmackDown stink, but the pay-per-views are usually pretty great. And so I have a feeling this is going to be no exception. When you have such talented wrestlers, it's you get away with terrible storytelling. So I'm excited for this. I know I'm going to have a good time watching it, and I'm sure we're going to have a whole lot to talk about afterwards. But I want to thank you, Matt. This has been awesome. I'm really, really love doing the show with both of you guys tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And this has been really good. And I'm more excited about WrestleMania now than I was going into the conversation, as maybe
agreed.
You guys feel the same. And I will say the one good thing to these two guys, we don't have to hear at the beginning of WrestleMania that it's award-winning and critically acclaimed. So we can at least two nights not have to hear that at the beginning of a show. Which I will deem as a positive. So everybody, both of you, Anthony and Mimi, thank you so much. You guys can catch Anthony doing WWE Rivalries every Friday, and you can have Mimi catch her doing AEW Dynamite Review and the highs and lows of the week every single week as well. So is there any social media that you guys want to share before we close things out? Mimi, go ahead first.
No, but I did. I don't have Twitter or anything like
right.
that.
Yeah,
it's too much for me. But I do have an email that I do for you guys, obviously, because a lot of you have, especially the AEW stuff to talk about. But also anything you guys can. I copied you, Matt. It's just mimi.realwwepodcast@gmail.com. So I'm old fashioned. You can email me. You can't tweet me, but you can email me.
Oh, cool. All right. No, it's weird that we're saying old school for email, but it's kind of true. Anthony.
You can get me on Twitter at @ADemarco25.
Awesome. Well, guys, I'm looking forward to our Twitter conversations. I'm sure throughout the show we'll be all tweeting and either venting or praising what's going on, and it's gonna be a really fun time. I mean, 3 hours each night is definitely doable, and we're gonna have a lot to say. So thank you both for taking the time. This was certainly probably the longest podcast we've ever done, nearly 3 hours. It's insane. But it was well worth it. Time well spent, and I hope you guys enjoy the show.
You too.
Same to you guys. We'll talk to you soon.
Yep. Have a good night.